Hello, racing around, rushing around. How do we do it? How do we keep our calm without going into drama or trauma? How do we do it? You download who you are, you download that higher self. And you know you still have to be professional. And it's how is it that you want to be? Do you want to be in a negative space? Do you want to be in a positive space? You can choose. You can choose. I've not always been able to choose, but I learned that I can choose. I can choose. Ah, I can choose. I can choose how do I want to be, and I can be more conscious of it. I don't have to beat myself up. Um, so I kind of observe myself, and I don't really have to rely on other people, especially those that, um, what do you want to call it? They say they have your best interest at heart, but you're seeing through their filters. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. And it depends on what um, people say they love me and their family, and yet they look and they go, yeah, no, don't do that. And then another person will, oh, that sounds great. And then there's some person, oh, that looks great. And so you're not knowing who you're really going to get the truth from. But should you be relying on everybody on the outside about you? So I start making sure I keep healing out um, the idea that I want to know what feeling, what do you call it, confident, feeling that I'm um, self assurance and feeling. And I don't need to keep going out inside and looking at you. Now, if I keep looking and seeing negative reactions from you, then I might second guess myself. And this is where it becomes the problem because without having all that confidence, without having that self esteem, without, you don't want to be a narcissist, you don't want to be in that space. Hello. So if you're new, you can get a free reading. But so here, the self-esteem. So I work with my physical form and I use energy to notice, like for instance, I will not be in my ego state, but I can still be in my ego state, which means less than your heart brain coherence and less than uh, love space and less than higher self. So I can see if I am less than love, then it's like, okay, what negative emotion, what experience is changing my point of view. So if I went to somebody and I wanted to be friends with y'all, and that means I would have to change my point of view, let's say, about what my job is. And I let you. Why? I gave you permission. Why? Because I'm not confident. I'm not have self-esteem. And I'm aware what it sounds like and I'm aware what it feels like, but I don't have to be the victim of my own emotional chemical peptides. Every single one of us has emotions. Every single one of us has, with those emotions, cells. You have 50 trillion cells that make up a community of you, and cells operate with the chemical peptides. So if anger is a chemical peptide, it's going to insert and it's like going to start your cell and that's the way you feel. Okay, let's say you tap it out with EFT, OMG, Success Hope Therapy, many other tools. Then this will come out, and the cell will go, and you kind of return to calm. So if you have frustration, any of that, it is a key that locks in, tells your cells how to behave. Now, if you're sitting there thinking about how someone's made you mad, or how that was mean, your feelings are hurt, that means that your program self, or you took it and you put meaning to it and go, oh my god, they're right. But what if they were just doing it because they were being mean? And that Pavian shot, that last parting words, because they're hurt. This is why they say hurt people hurt people. And you're not going to be able to operate with your full brain. You're not going to be able to operate with your heart brain coherence. So you will feel that energy come to you. They won't just be words. You will literally, the gesture, those things hurt because you can feel the energy. Comes over to you. and you feel it, you have the right to say, no, I agree but disagree, but I don't need you to change my point of view. Okay. But if you're dwelling on it and you're thinking it over, then you may all of a sudden become frustrated, or maybe they're right. You'll start gaslighting yourself because they were hurt. But you can stop and say no. Now, before I could really get to do this, I would sit there and go, okay, I'm going to take responsibility. Maybe I did hurt their feelings. I could look at that. But you can't do it if you're always just emotions, and your emotions is what's clouding your point of view. So what I realize is if I take control of my emotions and move the energy accordingly, then my cell can start to vibrate in a very healthy manner, because the cell needs you to be happy. Because if your brain and you decide that you're not happy, then it'll closed off. Okay, so it won't take in nourishment, and it'll pull away to get away from the source of the threat. And most people are constantly in that state of fear. State of fear is just an overall title. It's not just fear. So it holds anything of a negative emotion. But if you're not paying attention to what you're being as a human or a spiritual human, what you're being in way of acting and behavior, then you don't realize that you could be just absorbing everybody else's thoughts, everybody else's fears, however you choose to do it. And so they're angry, you turn, your cells go angry, mirror neurons going, I need to be angry. So then it does just that. It gets angry, and then you start to feel it. And over time, you'll think and feel, talk, communicate, process, do all these ways that you will then, a few months later, maybe a few years later, you all of a sudden are going to get automatically angry, because your brain is efficiently saying, oh, I know this one. You get angry at this. That means, oh, now you're not even in control of your volition, your will. But you can go in and say, I'm going to change the chemical peptide. I don't need that to be my temperament. I don't need that to be my identity. So you learn how to process by resolving out how the negative emotions are changing your point of view. And you'll have to see that in that person, that person, that person, that person. And if you're in a mood, then you're going to pull in that everybody's talking to you this way, or it always has to happen that way. You are living in the past. And you're looking and skipping the now, and you're then saying in the past, it's going to happen in the future, and that's a future thing, and that's always the way it's going to be. You'll not be able to be present, to be in charge of your volition. That's freedom. So I know that if I stand back as my spiritual self and go, okay, I'm angry, but I don't need to tell everybody, gather minions. That's the old way of processing. Now, if you need to have a sounding board, you need to work things out in the hopes, no, in the agreement, in the commitment that you're choosing with your soul that you're going to heal yourself. So this is why tools like EFT, Success Hope Therapy, SPPH, all of these things are designed for you to be your own healer. So if I wake up and I'm in a bad mood, I can be spiritually going, I'm being the identity of a person that's in a bad mood, but do I need that? Do I want that? And I can look and say, I can measure that. And it's a 10. And I'm like, do I want to be in that mood? Do I want that to be my temperament? Do I want that to be part of my personality, my identity? And it was no, I don't. So I said, I'm going to measure that. And so I would tap it out, OMG, success, one of those things. But I could feel how my energies were moving. Oh, but it's in the measuring. Like EFT, people are like, that doesn't work. And they've done it and they keep tapping, but they're not being present with their mind, with their higher self. And so they'll write down. So you go, even though I feel like, but you can measure that. That's a 10. And if you're paying attention as you're tapping or holding, whatever tool you use, you'll hear the statement change, remember, ever so lightly. And it's like slightly. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, that's obvious. The more you pay attention with your being, with your higher self, Not sure which phone did that. But when you pay attention to that, all of a sudden, you're like, oh, well, wait a minute. That does feel different. And that statement is different because, and that statement is attached to that. So you learn to record, write down these statements, these feelings, and you're learning to measure and have parameters. And you're like, oh my God, I don't have to actually be this type of way, this type of person, this type of, so I can just keep labeling myself. No, you can become greater than that. So now you have to have some type of purpose. And for me, it is that, to which is like being Sigma, not Alpha Beta. I'm not going to be proud to kick someone's ass and da 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 da. I've been there, especially when you're in the heat of these emotions. But at the same time, it's like, who do I want to be? Not what do they want me to be, or I am a victim of what I. No, you can be so much more than that. Do you guys all understand? Take a moment. What did you hear? Put it into your own words. You can be in charge of yourself. Put it into your own words. Oh, wonderful, Davin. I'll put that down. You're going to come on? Is that what I'm hearing? You don't have to have video. You can have audio, but I will put Davin down. Wonderful. That's awesome. We have also, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 readings today that people have paid. But if you're new, you get to have a free one. But if you've heard me before, seen me before, as far as you've got a reading from me before, then you have the options of 5, 15, or 25. So, or if you're on the other account. Now, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. You may have to send me a reminder, Davin, through Messenger or Facebook, my business account, Medicine Woman Soultion, so that I can give you the link. Okay, let's go further. So, what have you gathered? When you're ready to learn things, you take a moment, and if you're like, oh, that got my attention, those are your gem pops, okay? And then write it down, because your programs will put you back to sleep. And when you're learning something and you kind of want to know how to do it, you kind of put it into your own words. I know it sounds like homework. Oh man, I just have to do a book report and I got to put it in my own words. I don't want to do that. But what does that make sense to you? Because you're changing the definitions to your words, but you're changing the meaning that you had picked up and learned throughout your life, especially the first 7 years of the mirror neurons. And a lot of these are not. Oh, you don't have to do Zoom. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, no problem. That's fine. So I will put that down over here. All taken care of, Davin. As long as we have communication, this is good. That's what we ask for. So you can move out of victim mindset. You can move out of this emotion. I don't like being sad. I don't like being mad. I don't like this. Well, once you register, I don't like this, then you can measure it. Okay. Now, your 41 thoughts are going to keep pushing, and those cells of those emotions and maybe those gestures and words are going to keep telling yourself to keep focusing on this, keep focusing on it, keep focusing on it so that you're there. But tools will help you change the way that you talk to yourself, because one of the ways that our brain deletes, distorts, and generalizes, takes all this information in, but it has to how to process. So it will go, okay, you don't need all that over there, so let's delete that. Oh, let's put with your definitions. We have to distort. We have to make that make sense. Oh, yeah, I know why. So you go back to old conclusions, old pictures, old things, and you're like, that association is that. Marco Polo, okay, so you have associations as that, right? And then you generalize, rash generalization. We all. That's not true. We all have hair. That's not true. How many bald people are out there? So we generalize, usually very rash, but these are to get to conclusions so that you can come down and whittle it to one answer, one perspective. Now, growth can't happen if you're only going to keep pulling up that one. This is where you can go, okay, so let's go back to what I was saying. It was all about, well, I want to see how I am. I want to see how I show up, but I also don't want to just rely on other people, especially if they're in a mood or if they have their opinion. I mean, some people say I look good in short hair. I'm going to tell you the consensus overall is no, don't do short hair. But it's what you're attracted to. It's what you are being. And for me, what do I like? I kind of like both, but at the same time, I also know I look better with longer hair. And I prefer longer hair. But do I have to be? I can give you your reading and you can look for it on YouTube. And that's have I given you a read before? Well, either way, Joe Mama, I'll find out that if you do, then the timestamp will be on my clock, not on the timestamp of the thing. Okay? All right, I can put you down and I'll put Joe Mama. I don't know if that's anything special. Okay. But the message is, who do you believe? What do you believe? Can you wake up and realize that when people talk, it depends on what mood they're in. They may tell you the truth. They may tell you their truth. If they're angry, it's not actually the truth. Their vision, their reality is going to be coming through this filter, coming through these emotions. And if they are really hurt, then they're going to be gathering everything from the past and then put it through this filter. And it may not be the truth at all. People say, oh, when a person's drunk, they tell the truth. Yes and no. They're telling you their pains. They're telling you where they haven't closed the Akashic records. They're telling you what they believe because they can't transform it. And I've been in situations where it's like, oh yeah, see, they're telling me the truth. But if you're really wanting to grow, you don't have to fall for what they say. And this is where it's very important to wake up in relationships. And what does that mean? Well, thank you, Autumn. What it means is that as you begin to wake up, you don't have to rely on everything that you see and hear from other people because everybody has a different perspective. Everybody had a different background growing up, maybe a different culture, a different household, a different religion, a different country. And so you can argue about who's right and wrong, but you have to wake up to you. And as you begin to wake up, you start to have confidence in yourself. AI says, you're a bit wordy. No, it didn't say that, but I heard somebody else say that. It's long discussion on self-awareness and personal growth, sharing insights on purpose and identity. So that's getting better, AI. Different points of view. Everyone's truth is different for them. Now, if my joys relied upon you to make me happy, that's a big responsibility to put on people. But if I look at you to help define me, and I go into your space, and 1 minute you're good and happy, and the next minute you're pissed off, and then you're showing up, you may be talking about yourself, you may be talking about the person or your feelings, but you're using my name in that statement. So things can get confusing and lost. So you need to really step up to being happy and self-efficient. And does not mean have to do everything alone. That's not it. Oh, hi, KB. But it is not having to believe your emotions if they're negative, because they're going to askew, because you have to do safety first, fight, flight, freeze, and you're not going to get the whole story. So I had somebody that was just so angry, but yet they're not showing it. And so they would say cutting remarks or a Palian shot. And I would like, something's up with them. But do I have to, because I love them, do I have to take all that meaning in and go, oh my God, I'm doing that? I'm such a bad person? That's taking and having that point of view from that person, from that emotion, and saying I'm supposed to eschew and believe that that point of view is absolutely truth. So if I did, what would it look like? Oh my God, that hurt. And then take the energy in, be hurt, start dropping from both parts of my brain because you want them both to work. Drop from my space of love because I'm so naive, right? Oh, I have to, I grabbed it and I ran with it. And now I'm driving myself crazy. Maybe they're right. And I'm gaslighting myself. If you're just trained to hurt yourself or that they're always right, and then you apply that everybody else is always right, then you're going to go to somebody that don't like you, that's nice to you, and tell you lies. Then you're going to start keep doing this until you start to wake up and say, wait a minute, why am I letting the outside control my world? Oops, don't know what just happened to that. So we have a choice here. You can take the ball and run with it. You can take the seed of doubt and plant it. You can destroy yourself because you believe that that's the only perspective, that's the only truth, and that they're always coming from their heart space, when I've learned that that's not true. I used to get so caught up in what they would say, and they would hurt, and then they would convince me with facts, figures that they're correct, and it would hurt, and I would be whittling and chipping away at my confidence, not realizing that they're in pain or that just happened to them, so they're passing that on. And so everybody can have a bad day. But at the same time, if you don't realize that that should not be part of a relationship, and you go in and keep getting into relationships after relationships like that, then you are going to be marrying or being with a narcissist that maybe doesn't realize that they're a narcissist, or the way that communication is, that is a narcissistic communication. Some people are not truly 100% narcissist. They're just borrowing what they learned, what their mirror image is, this is how you're supposed to do relationships, which is not true. Do you want people to skew their life, and it's now your view, your point of view? This is who you are, and this is you weaving in and out of people? No, we don't need behavior versus behavior. We don't need to have gaslighting. We don't even have to, you don't have to gaslight yourself. So what does this look like when you have taken that trigger and go, oh my God, that hurts, and it's a 10, and you sat there and you healed it out, you tapped it out, and you got it so it was 0? Now, this is the true process of resolving, not just, oh, this is how I process. This is about resolving to evolve, meaning you do not have to keep repeating what you've learned through history. You don't have to be what you keep mirroring. And I will be in that pain, I'll measure it, and then I'll tap it out. And as I'm tapping and I'm disrupting the flow, I'm disrupting that to which my brain is saying I have to be this, my emotions are this. And I'm like, no, I am not the program. And so I'll tap it out, tap the pain, tap the suffering, tap whatever it is that's driving my 41 thoughts into high beta, which makes it more. I don't know which phone did that, but I can stop it. And when I do, I put the time and effort into me. I can feel the difference, that it was a 10. I know it. It was right there. And then all of a sudden it's like, it's not there. I understand it, but it doesn't have to own me. And so then you start to grow. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that way. I let outside world control my inside. Yeah, you don't have to. And all your programs that you picked up from mirror neurons would be your inner world, create your outer world. And so you have this thing, but you as a spirit can show up and say, wait a minute, I do not have to invest my life force into this story, into this pain and suffering. Okay. So when the outside needs our help, okay, it depends on the type of help. So let's say you were always a caregiver. You put the role hat on. This is what people expect of you. This is a set permanent. Thank you. Set permanent identity now, but and it's like, oh, it's hardwired. You can't change it, which is a lie. You can. I don't want to show up that anymore because it's eating away at me. I don't want to show up that way anymore because it's actually killing me. And I left and healed my shit and got to the point where I didn't have to be in that environment with those people. And I love them, but I still need to be me. So I don't need them to keep telling my point of view. I mean, I had family members who were like, oh my God, do something with your hair. And it was always about, God, you look awful. So I would be stuck in the 80s, or I would, oh, don't take care of myself, or you look awful like an old lady. You need to look. I'm like, why does my looks bother you? Why? Why do I have to feel bad about myself because you don't like the way I look? Why? Why do I have to have you bring in your relations and my relations and all do this tag team and saying, you're too fat, you need to lose some weight? What does my health, my look like? What I do? Why does it bother you so much? And why do you think that you have to do that for me? I worry about you. You do? Then why are you chastising me? Oh, I don't do that. I only give you love. But in every moment when I'm talking about spirituality, you're condemning me. I need to go back to church, or I need to do this, or that she's too far out there. Oh my God, that's not the way we do it. And it dawned on me that I didn't know me. I decided to take my power off. And every time they talked, I was like, that's their opinion. And I started to heal these emotions so I didn't have to take on their world. And it started to piss them off because I wasn't showing up the way they wanted, or I didn't comment the way they wanted. And after a while, it was like, don't you care about me? And I'm like, I love you, but I do not have to change myself to make you happy. And your point of view, that's good, but I learned to disagree. Okay, I can agree and disagree. And I can stay in my own lane no matter if they're attacking. After a while, because I did not give them any power and did keep that alive, they stopped talking that way to me, to the point that they didn't want to be in my world. Well, I didn't believe in trauma, drama, arguing, and there's always got to be this chaos. Then when my body started to take different shape, it was like they didn't like that. They would rather had me fat than starting to be healthy. They didn't like my confidence because, you have to wear constant like gold real stuff. This is fake stuff. I'm fine with what you call fake, but I like art. They're not helping us. If they're annoyed the way I look, they should go heal that shit. If they don't, I do not have to carve myself up to please them. I was born in this body, not theirs. If they can't stand their life and they got to control everybody, they need to go do some healing. I would rather be not in their world. I'm done giving my power away to people. They don't, hold on, that little heart thing stuck in the way. So they blank know that they are being treated by a narcissist. Sometimes people are so asleep they don't even know that they're talking as the program. Your mind created this program, and you're in this program, and you can't think outside of it. You don't even know there's an outside to be had until you get bitch slapped next Tuesday, and all of a sudden you cannot go back to the way it was. What's that last statement even mean? Take a second. It means that life hit you so hard, you cannot be pushed back to, no, you want to go back. I just want to go back to normal. You can't identify yourself. So let's say someone died and you're like, but they're in my world. But you were not your own world. And they're my world, my identity. They're gone. I got to learn this. I just want this. And yes, death is tragedy. Death can hurt. I remember my first death. Well, not my first death, the the closest one to me. I lost myself. But then I found myself. And what I realized is I got to stop over identifying. I need to know me. So the next death that happened, I began to understand the soul's journey, not just the human being journey. And I don't need someone to tell me what to do all the time. I can actually take a second and say, I can do this. If I fell down, I can stand up. If I broke something, I can fix it. But I don't have to sit there and be the victim of myself or victim of what I'm supposed to be. You begin to learn that my identity is what I give meaning to. My identity is what I like. Not that I have to have this identity for this. Now, if I'm going out in public, I don't want, let's say I'm mad. I don't want the whole world to have to experience it, bring it home, or bring it out into the public. So you learn different ways of being. But at the same time, don't stuff it, don't repress it, process it out. Take your time and work with the body to get it out. Yes, when finally dark touches light. Well, I look at it this way. You go into a dark room, you turn the light on, what happens to the dark? It transforms. But it is not have to be anything more than a transformation. And when I was in me, sitting there tapping and changing my statements, the way I saw it, the way I felt, the way I was being, all of a sudden, it was like, so I'm watching old relationship, they're fighting with me, and I'm like, well, why do we need to have drama? What's up bothering you? And what it boiled down to is because I wouldn't do what they wanted. And I said, stop, stop, stop. Why do I have to do what you want? So you'll feel better. How about if we just take and measure this and tap it out? Oh, they were mad at that. I says, why? I'm not going to give you my power. I'm not going to show up. Well, you don't love me. I'm like, you can use those words, but maybe you don't love yourself. So it was better for me just to walk away. I'm okay to lose my family and friends. I'm choosing to grow. I'm choosing to connect with the heart-brain coherence. So I want you to begin to know who you are on a soul level. I want you to learn how to tap out and identify when your behavior is being forced to change behavior, your behavior is changing somebody else. That's not actual real love relationship. That is individuals. We're not independent, but we're individuals that are constantly repeating these processes of relationships. I have to change your behavior before you change mine. I have to. Why do we need the drama? Why do we need to fight? Yes, I'm choosing me. Exactly. And what happens is when you keep tapping and healing and changing and balancing the brain, balancing the heart-brain coherence, is that you're going to have a different interference pattern. And when people try to get you back to what I believe you're supposed to be, and you don't, they'll realize that you're not playing. And it's like anything. When nobody plays in, then they're like, fine. And then they'll go find somebody else to do it with. But you're not missing out. But if you don't know who you are and you are controlled by emotions and you're controlled by other buddies' belief systems, then you haven't really grown. So I can hold space with somebody that say they love me and then give me a pathine shot because I know they're just in one of those spaces. And if they promise to heal, no, it's commitment. They are aware that they were a crappy person. They don't have to sit there and gaslight themselves and hate themselves and beat themselves up. They will transform that self, rise above it and go, oh my goodness, I see how I shut up. And there's no shame into realizing that you did that. Wow, I don't want to do that anymore. And then you set a goal of saying, that's not necessary to make me, me. I don't have to copy what I see on TV programs. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. Yes, loving yourself is not a narcissistic thing. Loving yourself in a higher consciousness, becoming conscious, you're conscious of the fact that you are a spirit being and you have love. You can only turn the other cheek so many times. Correct. Because the best way to tell somebody that you've changed is by changing your actions. Now, I've had people fake it and hoping that they faked it enough, but just they'll be a, you know what a cheetah is? An animal that runs, that, you know, like a cat, a cheetah, they can run like 90 miles per hour, and then all of a sudden they're going to burn out. Well, I watched this in people. I changed. So their actions have changed. And so we're going on a year and a half. And I'm thinking, well, maybe they have changed, but I could tell. And I wasn't just holding up going, no, because I could feel those roots. I could feel how they're suppressing it. I'm like, okay. And then one day they blew. And then I said, so you didn't transform it out. Why should I? Because I have to prepare myself because I know that I'm like, you want to paint me as an evil person. Why? Why are you with me? Why? And I said, I'm going to do you a favor. Since you believe that I'm an object and that you've invested in me with all that effort and that you can't afford to lose me for whatever reason, or I'm your whole identity, I need you to grow. I'm going to go because I'm no longer wanting to wait. I love you. Convince myself. I'm done. True action is you can feel it. You can feel when it's real versus their way of being. Let's see, one's got full twice. Yeah, oops, lost comment. Hopefully that'll come back. We got a lot of good comments here. Yeah, I made the commitment to heal and I'll never go back because you know that you are getting results. You know that you don't need to be this anyway. And it's like, you know that you're growing. Now I will, wow, I was in a world where it's like, no, you got to stay the picture that I created. And I'm like, I can't. I don't want to die anymore because my body was physically dying. Why do we always have these people around? Some people come and go, but those ones, they keep showing up again and again. Good. It's unresolved issues. It's the root. So first, okay, so how do we put this? I don't know if you believe in reincarnation. I'm not asking you to, but I just want you to understand that you have a soul. And this soul can go to sleep and dream and be any personality it wants. So you happen to be asleep, waking up in this personality. From the time that you have been conceived is this collection of information and what you're supposed to do. As you start to interact with the body of your vessel that you're coming through, aka mom, okay? So as you're coming through, you have what's called soul markers. And these soul markers are unfinished business, the things that you didn't get to finish or understand or get a different point of view. And so you're going to have tests, okay? The more you put your investment of your energy in to keep seeing it this perspective and it makes you lose power, then you're going to keep doing this. Well, so let's say at 2 years old, somebody's screaming at you and you took it in as horrifying. And really, mom's just telling you, don't put your finger in the light socket. But to you, it's like she's an evil person in the world but you didn't pass your test. So now you have this particular emotions and things and delete, start and generation, you're pushing it down and you can only see through these filters, only through these perspectives, through these meanings, through these definitions. And you keep seeing it again and again. So it's only mirroring neurons, monkey see, monkey do. By the time, in your brainwave is not going to be any different. So by the time it hits 7, your brainwave goes from delta, theta up to more of an alpha and not quite beta yet. And you're still being very hypnotically suggested and you're still picking up the world. So you are mimicking and then you'll soon be modeling and then you'll be doing socializing. So, but it isn't until you hit your 30s that your spirit will feel the Saturn's return, go, it's time to wake up again and not just be a program. And you test after test. Now, as my first 7 years of my life, I'm now going to go out and start attracting people. Oh, I like them. Why? Because they are who you looked at when you were little. Okay. And so this is how you know them. Now, if you associate the particular love with hate or particular love with abuse or particular love with this, you'd realize that you have unfinished business. So as you get older, you start pulling these people in. They seem like the great person in the world. And then all of a sudden you start to see, what do we call it? Flaws. Or we can see that we're having drama in the relationship and we can't quite get past it. So what does all this mean? Well, you married your family. I have had my sister in her narcissistic ways. I'm like, God dang it, I married my sister. Ugh. Or or the particular habit, you just don't want to be somebody around that's an alcoholic or something. Oh my God, I married my father. But it is you waking up to say, why am I attracting this in? What is the key factor? What is the emotions? What is the thing? And when you begin to tap, use any success, hope therapy, any tool, you will all of a sudden begin to see something different. As you begin to see something different, you are waking up and noticing that you don't have to keep looking through the same perspective, still go through the root cause or the program that says this is how far you've come. You literally begin to crack the egg open. You literally begin to transform from to and you're like, oh, but there's wisdom that's hidden in these emotions, into these programs. And when you begin to release them, then you get the wisdom. Okay, it starts to show up. I don't know how to explain it except for you have to go through the process of going, this is a 10. I am so angry. And then you're sitting there and you're healing or you're tapping, however it is. And all of a sudden, give it a few minutes, the body, the energy, the electromagnetics moving. And the next thing you're going, oh, I don't have to think of it that way. Oh my God, I can see why I thought it that way. And you're sitting there and all of a sudden you get it to zero and you can feel that you're happy, your emotions are better, everything is great. And then all of a sudden, here comes the test because we're habitual in our aura. We have what's called a morphogenic field. So things have to take and start forming into that way. So it's not just taking care of one emotion, but it is a structure that you have to break down in the habit. And as it comes in, you can do a knee jerk, like hit that, vending machine button and we can have it again and reinstall it. Or you can go, whoa, I see it. There's still a trigger, but it's not maybe anger. Maybe this time it's like, I have to be a good girl. It's part of putting the mask on or you had to survive. But do I need to? You can measure these things. You can heal them out. You understand? And you begin to change the way that you show up for yourself by changing these old programs. The biggest thing is to take the definition of words and you find you see how you define it. And then you bring in the words and you see how it actually is defined. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, but where did I borrow this? Where did I get this from? But does it have to be? So the more knowledge you get, the more you do. So you'll be doing and being. So doobie doobie doo. I have a joke that usually goes with that. But I didn't bring it up here. The joke was, what does Scooby-Doo, Sinatra, and William Shakespeare have in common? That could teach me many things. And that was to be or not to be. And when you understand that it is about doing and being, because you're a human being, and then you hear doobie doobie doo. Okay, that's done. Anyway. So this is deep. I can take it as a soul evolving. Exactly. This is quantum healing. This is quantum law of attraction. This is soul connecting. This is higher self. And so you're looking at how this happens. And so when you begin to change your programs, those deep, dark programs, those things that you were told that you should be ashamed of, you start healing out guilt and shame, you start to change the way you beat yourself up. And all of a sudden, as the wisdom in you and your energy start to balance out, you start to, I've had people that go, oh, these are my best friend. And they'll be working and healing and stuff. I go, well, where are they? And you're like, oh my God, I haven't talked to them in 6 months. So people will zig and zag. Some people will leave and burn bridges. Some will disappear. But you won't be less than. You won't have to unless you tell yourself this. So you're always balancing the brain. You're always balancing the energies, and you don't have to fall for everything. If that makes sense. Okay. Oh, you paid for chat too. Okay, wonderful. Let me put you down as well. So what did you hear? What did you hear? What are your takeaways? Why? Because you need to understand, if you're studying and learning that you want growth, you want happiness, you want joy, and that's set at your GPS, you have to understand how things are not of joy and happiness. Hold on, I gotta write her name down, but all of a sudden my brain went, who? I should say my hand didn't want to write. This can create some beliefs like being a good person, a good human being, and so many others goes away for a certain time. It's not about going away, it's about transforming yourself. So if you believe you have to have certain beliefs, and you have to hold up these certain values, and you have to hold up these certain standards, you're going to find out when it limits you. And when it limits you, this doesn't allow love in. It's called conditioning. It ends up being a solo journey. People don't like because you don't fight back, or they don't like, and that's okay. You need to be okay with yourself. But if you're sitting there going, oh man, I want to go back to having friends, and you're willing to sacrifice yourself to go back to what you've already chose to hell out, you're going to learn a big lesson, or you'll go back to sleep. And you will be wondering why your health is going bad, or why life is the way it is. Start attracting in, magnetically start attracting in people that are like you. And you get to see your growth. I'm happy with who I have in my life. I'm happy that I can attract wonderful people in. And I don't have to fall for these games. And a lot of these games are gaslighting. A lot of these games are, yeah, hey, I'm so proud that I won one over on them. I threw them under the bus. I mean, some of these relations, oh, I love you, I love you. And then they'll go behind your back and talk to your friend. Oh, did you see how she's too wordy? Do you see how she's such a bitch? Do you see how she cuts me down? Or do you see, is that really a personality you want? You don't even maybe know that you're doing this, but the other person is only hearing bad mouthing. And that's not the friend I need. And a lot of people do it. Because they don't know that it's like, I want you to look at me, or I want you to think I'm better than that person. It's always about competition, comparison, and conflict. And we're moving out of that. We're moving into love. So if anybody ever wonders about my sign, it's an M as in medicine, and then there's a W, woman, and then there's a S, solutions, SOULTIONs. So Medicine Woman Solution would rather fix your crown without anybody knowing. It's like if you stepped on some toilet paper and you're walking through the hallway, oh, let me help you. You got some toilet paper stuck in, but not letting everybody go, hey, look, hey, look. You know, you don't do that to embarrass. You don't need to. Yeah, you don't have to compete with anyone. But you have to know when you're working on yourself and you're alone, are you cutting people down, or are you building them up? Or you don't even have to talk about them at all. I have this, I cared about this person. I loved them. But, and they would show me with kindness and gifts. And I thought, well, this is odd. I mean, I don't mind them. But then it was like, I gave to you, and all you give to me is what? Of rejecting me? I said, you gave to me, and yet I have people reporting back to me that some of your conversations is that I'm the cruelest person in the world. Do you need to gossip? Do you need to make up stories so that you can look like you're better than me, or that you, it was the most eye-opening thing. And then to know that I attracted that in, because holy crap, you're my sister. I haven't resolved that yet. So as I began to heal this out and resolve it in me, they had to disappear, because I no longer am vibrating to attract that in. You understand? I don't have to attract that in anymore. It's not wishful thinking. I tapped. I changed my emotions. I changed my behaviors. I changed my personality. I mean, I came right out and told them, I love you, and I'm done, because I don't hold the same values you do. And they kept deny. And then somebody sent me a recording. I don't have to give you 1,000 chances. If you change with your actions. So there's different ways of being, but I can tell you that I want to be loved. And I'm not wanting. I'm sitting in the GPS, and every day it's like, okay, if I'm angry, that's not love. I'll tap it out. If I'm seeing someone very angry at me, I'm like, oh, I can predict how somebody is going to be angry at me. I have energy investment in that. I can tap that out. There's many different angles that when you go to heal, you can heal these different angles. These beliefs, oh, it's going to be in the future. Tap that out. And all of a sudden, as long as you're balancing the brain, you're helping the cells remove the chemical peptides of negativity or your stories and your meanings. You need to stop being your story. You don't have to be a big woundology. Excuse me. You don't have to be this wound walking around. We don't have to, in the 4 archetypes that all of us have, to be the prostitute, become less than, sell yourself short. It has nothing to do with sex. Okay? Oh, I don't have it in me to get, but I know you can give it to me, but I have to do something to get it. Okay, fine. It'll be small at first, but then it'll be a huge payment at the end. Oh, I love them. I can put up with their socks on the floor, their whiskers in the sink. Oh, yeah. And then 5 years in, and it's driving you crazy. Prostituting. Okay. Like one of the things that I did in school was, oh, they'll be my best friend because we lived in proximity. We lived in an apartment. So this girl was my best friend. As soon as we got to school, I don't know you, she would say. Go away. And then we go home. Hi, how you doing? I'm thinking, what? I'm like, what? And then I thought it was okay. And then because I have a friend and sacrificing yourself. And it's so you go through the prostitute, you go through the sabotage. You'll sabotage yourself by going, they'll say, oh my God, they're in a mood, but you don't know it. And they say some Pythian shot or something like this. And you just think and all of a sudden you're like, maybe they're right, maybe they're true, maybe this and that. Oh my God. And you sabotage yourself because now you've convinced yourself, because you let their point of view say, this is your world. And you're like, you got to wake up as a spirit being so you can become a spiritual human. You got to create unity. And so now you got to go into the victim mindset. And I can tell you that nobody knows when they're talking that it actually is a victim mindset. And I said, everyone, that's a rash decision. More and more people are waking up to the idea that was that a judgment? Was that saying oh, that's rash. Oh, that's a generalization. Was that true? Do I have statistics? No, it was my opinion. But people think influences and everybody's trying to learn from other people. Okay. But what it boils down to is you're going to go, if I am going to transform as a soul, I need to bring back spirit and matter to be unity. And I don't need to be in the extremes of the prostitute, or I have to do it to others and they have to do it to me, or in that victimization or that sabotage. But then you have to raise your children. Now, the child of many faces archetype, from abandoned to natural to whatever, and wounded child. You have to heal this. So you as the adult, be in your fixed state, can go back and hold your littles and help them. And you, by healing, changes the chemical peptides. And so you can re-raise your littles. All you want to do is play. If you look back and you're like 2 years old and I'm over there crying because that's my memory, that child just wants to play. So if I help them transform, not how to process, but transform and resolve the things that they couldn't process, then I will feel all of that energy come back to this state and this time. Any shadow part, you will get to integrate. It doesn't have to be, oh my gosh, I have a separate personality and they think it's going to die, because that's the identity. You have to heal those identities, transform those out. And when you do, you get all the energy more here. What does that mean? You see things differently. This can create some beliefs like being a good person, a good human being, and so many others could go away for a certain time. Oh, I already read that. But again, it's not about, it's about growth within the soul. And so there's lots more that I have to learn, lots more of me at growth. But every day is meant to be a journey and a quest that your soul is meant to be on. And it's not a finalization. You can feel that how, like, I measure my day. I get up, I'm happy, I'm joyful. Like yesterday, there was not 1 ounce of anything bad because I didn't put a meaning to it. So we decided that to celebrate 11 years of being married, what is that? Oh, hair. Is that my first? Not my first, but I think it's a gray hair. Oh, whatever. Um, Nothing was bad. So, how does that look? It wasn't just pushing it down. So we decided we're going to go out, and we decided to go. We went to the plant store. We found some plants, and then we left there, and we went to Semaphore Beach, and we went and walked along the beach, and it was great. And then we went and stopped. We had a snack, and yes, I have beer, but that's very rare. It's not all the time. But we stopped and we had that and snacks. Now I don't usually eat processed food, but that's all they had available. And then we went and walked back, and it was raining, but it was fun. It was fun. We get to the car and we're like, oh, this is where we're going to go. So we have something over here is a Mexican restaurant, and so we went and had some tacos, and we just had a great night. Now, this is how other people, or how I would have seen it. Oh God, I gotta leave the house. I gotta down myself up, get myself ready. I had none of the dread, none of that, or I could have total excitement and then be disappointed. I didn't have to do any of this. The rain. I mean, so this is from a negative point of view. So if we're riding, let's say we're riding a bus, and the outside is pretty, on the right is all flowers, and this over here is all doom and gloom. Okay, depending on the perspective you want to look at, not wishful thinking, but who you're being. So now I'm going to give you the negative aspect. Okay, I could whine and bitch and moan, but we're not out of here yet. Oh my God, the place is going to close. Oh my gosh, we get there. Oh, they don't have the plant I want. Oh man, I'm mad because I couldn't find the plant. Well, I didn't have to be mad, but in this case, in a negative scenario, yes, I found somebody. I got to ask somebody, blah blah blah, and I found it and brought it home. No, I just resolving. That's what a spiritual person, or what a person that's not being over identifying with matter is. So then, okay, we get to Semaphore, and it's slightly cold, nothing much. Oh, I gotta wear a sweater. I gotta do this. And, it depends on how I want to look at it. Oops. All right, hold on. I'm gonna get this again. I can't get my finger to make the puzzle. Oh, this is stupid. Okay, I missed it 5 times. Okay. I could have got upset. It's just funny. Well, thank you. So then we go and walk along the beach. We decide to go to this clubhouse, and it's Sunday. Guess what they don't serve on Sunday? Food. So we get stuck with beer nuts and chips. And it's like, oh man, I don't have to see it that way. I really don't. And then, oh my God, the storm. Now, if you've ever seen the storm come off or be around the ocean, it can be a bit scary, right? And cold, and so someone's trying to call me. So I'm walking along, and hey, I got prepared, man. I had my raincoat on. I could have brought an umbrella, but I didn't want to carry one. And we get to the car, we're laughing and giggling because it's like, oh my God, the wind is so strong. And my husband, he's a fast walker. I'm like, but we had fun. And then we couldn't get, because we couldn't get to the taco place. We had to go out and around, and we could have complained because the tracking device was telling us to go down the wrong street and blah blah blah. Now you can figure it out. And it was just all fun, but the negativity could have been endless. But we don't need to play in drama. We don't even need to make it a trauma. It's called resolve to evolve. And so you're using that resolving part of you to make it a fun adventure. And I don't have to have a story in a negative sense. You know what I mean? For so long in victim mindset, today I'm using it as one more of my strength. Yes. But the point is when you resolve those things down to zero, it changes you. You get your life force back. You get to get connected more with the heart brain coherence. And you just end up becoming this better version of yourself, better than you could ever imagine. Yes, there's more work to do. Yes, there's more growth to do, but there's nothing wrong with the process. So love yourself. Oh, I had an awesome time. All right, let's give it a start. Thank you for letting me communicate. So, April Lynn. April Lynn. April Lynn. Oh, that's weird. It's like all of a sudden I can't see this thing. Okay, are you there? What Spirit wants, paid for a chat. Okay, gotcha. And we'll take her first. I'm just looking to see what all the other things were on my screen because I don't want to miss out. Okay. Now, why should you stick around to hear other people's readings? Because there are different insights. And when you get these different insights, you will begin to see something different. Okay. And it can make for a very much a nice growth to see different perspectives. You still do private text readings. Davin asked, I did try to ask yesterday. Oh, I didn't see it, but do you still do the private text reads? Is that what you want? You don't want this or, okay. So if you're paying to do it on the show, then I'd be discreet as possible. But I do private readings at home. Yes, I do. I do have sessions. I do private sessions. This happens to just be the show. Okay, just let you know. Yes, I do privates. Okay, so hang in there. April Lynn, she said she's here. Let's give this a go. She says she wants what Spirit wants. And the first thing that I feel is like this is a spiritual issue. This is something that you can't see, but what you need to see, something that you are unraveling. And so there's a spiritual soul growth that needs to be happening, and it is unfolding. What does this entail? They're telling me it's the energy that flows from, which way should it flow? So energy coming from your higher self through the chakras into the body and into like the meridians that does. And that's got a good flow. I said, so you're saying it is when the energy from the meridians needs to go to the nervous system. And they said, yes. And it's the communication between the meridians and the nervous system. And the meridians are, so we're looking at how the meridians are doing some deficiencies. They're not producing enough energy or the flow, or they're stuck. So then that means, like if I said how many meridians you're talking about, they said 2 meridians. And the first one is a triple warmer. The second is a large intestine. I said, is there any acupuncture points that are frozen, stuck, sunk, are not connected? They go, that's not where we want to go. The deficiency of the story. So there's a particular story that your body is still doing. I said, what age that we're talking about? At age 22. And the first thing is that the large intestine is about, I have to have this karmic debt. And I said, is this about money? Is this about emotions? And they said, it's about emotional, mental story. So what happened at 22 that was a mental, emotional story? Okay. And what we're going to do is that it is created a self-imposed limitation. So whatever happened in your world, it caused you to, and then you put these limitations in. So you're looking for limitations. And this is something that's, it's hard to explain, but like if somebody was yelling at me, and let's say I'm doing something, I'm creating something, and they're yelling, all of a sudden I will stop doing that. I will prevent myself from commenting or prevent myself from to continue what I was doing and prevent myself from being in that space. So it's part of the delete, distort, and generalize way that we fight, flight, freeze. But it's a self-imposed limitation. You may not be aware that you're preventing yourself to do what it is that you want to do. Now, this is that you're displaying one of your parents. And I said, Mom, Dad. So even if you don't know your dad, you should still displaying an epigenetic of that nature. One of the things that's happening is just to be in shock. Oh my God. Okay, so if, oh my God, then there is going to usually be a knee-jerk and an automatic program that's going to, you won't even know you've done it. So we're asking Spirit, thank you, Spirit, to help you see this. They said, well, as far as the parents go, you could see how like your mom's very deficient, right? And scared and all of this. And that becomes a habit. How she shows up affected the way your dad showed up, whoever was considered as your dad, or you can see it as somebody in your space. But what it is that they want to run from it. So it is to run from. And I said, so is this like a spiritual lesson? Yes, because you are meant to run. You're supposed to run, right? And I said, why? And they go, because as soon as somebody brings this energy in, you're supposed to disconnect from your spirit, your happy place, your information of spiritual intuition, and you are meant to disconnect from that, go into separatism and go into their world. And it can be a very scary place. Does this make sense? And the reason I say this is because it is behavior changes behavior. So if this negative behavior, fear, and you're not matching this would keep put out there so much that then your behavior starts to be changed by this behavior. So this point of view is going to change your behavior. This emotion of fear is going to make a picture that causes you to doubt yourself, put self-limitations, and you believe this about yourself. Does this make sense? Okay. Now, the triple warmer says that I haven't learned what gaslighting is completely. And see, and I'm learning how to write about it and to help you see it. So one of the things that I see, oh, good job, Bryn. Good Lord. One of the things that I see is how they're feeling. So for instance, we're going to take, let's say they're in their very defensive mode. And they are hurt and they are going to be in that space and they're looking around. And let's say the bills are on their mind. Then they're going to, let's say you want to turn the air conditioner on, and then they're like, you don't need that, this and that and the other. And it is a part of a convincing. It's a part of telling you that this, if they really are gaslighting you, then they are helping you by certain amount of pressure or telling you 50,000 different ways to say the same thing. But they want you to stop. They want you to be something else. They want you to show some certain behavior. Okay. And when this occurs, then all of a sudden it's like, this is how I know my life. This is how I know my identity. So your triple warmer says, I am to be duress. I wouldn't recognize myself without someone duressing me. I do not understand who my identity to be without it. Okay. So there has to be a certain amount of steps and pressure that is very familiar, that even if you didn't want it in your space, it's there. Okay, do you understand? And you are meant to go, I got to see this. The communication process is, we don't like something, we have to tell them. And as we tell them, we have to get clever because we can't just say it direct, but there's a certain amount of duress. So these are particular emotions that come across and you're supposed to go into a particular behavior. So this is what I refer to as your Pavlov, the stake. Okay, so the stake is the thing that you have to always salivate to. So no matter if the steak shows up as real or a picture, unreal, a sound like a bell, or the time of day. So I can see there's a part of you, and I feel like this is something that's on the planet, and this could be for all of you. Have you had anything that happened to you in October that hasn't been resolved? So I know several people that have had people that died or committed suicide in month of October, and it really affected them. They've grown, they've healed, they've done things, but the physical body is saying, oh, I remember this. And you won't maybe remember this. Okay, so what they're saying is that the triple warmer feels duress even if you're not aware of it. So what you need to do is that I'm looking at the trip warmer. Your trip warmer is taking energy from the large intestine and it's taking it from the liver. And we need to disrupt this. And I said, how do you want to do it? And of course, the sensory system is involved. And I says, and it's all the way you feel. So it's the conditioning of how you feel. This is old intuition. So that means that it's an ego intuition. So it's inside the program that's doing the intuitive aspect of it. And it says that you have to be deficient. So if this shows up, what particular shows up? This duress shows up. Then you are supposed to go into this conditioning that says, I'm incompatible and I can feel their energies and I have to go into the dark night of the soul. So you will want to begin with doing sensory accessing about the feel. So when you feel it, you can measure it's a 10, and then you're looking inside and seeing if it's in there, and you measure it again, and you remove transcend, and then you bring it out. But this time, put it in the treasure chest. And then you're going to pour it all in there. Okay, it's all in there. You can put your hand on your head like this. We can even beef it up and say, I want you to hold left wrist, second position, deep, L2D. And then as you're putting it in the treasure chest, and then all of a sudden you go inside and measure it again, you go outside and measure it again, and then if there's anything there, you keep doing this process, remove, transcend, let go until it goes. Then you are going to do the pH, which is the physiology, and you are then meant to go and think, I have to keep doing this karmic debt, okay, creating this karmic debt over and over. Well, you are going to go in and start tapping on L5. So you're going to go down where your waistband is, and it sits like where your hips, your waist would be right here. And you're going to, the process, hold this, breathe, and tap, 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 tap as you're feeling this. Because as soon as you start to notice that you have to do self-imposed limitations or you're falling for this, then I would tell you to do L5, because this is where you really believe you're deficient. And so when this part of your body starts to do it, then it becomes this host of event. If you wanted to go further, then I would have you hold R2S, right wrist, second position soft, and hold on to and feel the anxiety. You understand? The anxiety. And measure that out. So you have many different ways to heal that. So I'd say yes, keep going. Now we have hang in there because we have a list. Now we have Sandy, Pam, and Jenno. Okay, so we have Pam paid, gifted it to Jenno and Sandy. So is either any of those three here? Oh, I see Jenno. Don't see you sent just for me. There's a whole conversation happening here, but Jenno, if whoever's here, if Sandy's here, Pam T or Jenno, let me know, and I will. You're welcome. I will choose one of you to be first. Thursday, Jen. Genesika, you're all here. Oh, you're all here. Okay, so I'll just do Sandy first, and then there's Pam. Okay. So I'll do Sandy first. Okay. Now, you all want just a spiritual reading, or do you? Because I really feel like there's something here that you are all doing, and the reason why I say that is because your mom is going. I can feel her physical body saying, "Oh, it's that time of the month. That's the event that happened in a particular year." So, if with this, I feel like what age? They're saying when she was 35. So now you guys can figure out if you were involved in her life at 35 as well, because this is a family thing. But what I'm seeing is that the event, whatever happened at 35, magnetically changed your mother. So Sandy, I want you to where did my happy go? So something occurred where all of a sudden it was your identity. It is familiar. It's what you know. And all of a sudden it changed. And you have not really resolved that, created closure. Okay. So we're going to say, what do you want? And they said, well, the first thing is that we have to help the physiology. So you got people there to help you. And we're going to do the pH. It was the physiology. And they said that it's like you had to exert your power. You had to exert your power. And as you exerted your power at that age, that thing that you had to do, somehow the body is thrown off. So you're going to have to tap T2, T5, and T8. So just remember, it starts like right at the shoulders, T2, T5, and T8, like right where your nipper would be if it didn't age. And so begin to tap that. Remember to have her hold her head, exerting power. If she can connect it back to that, that's even greater. And then you tap those three. You can do them at the same time if necessary. You've got plenty of hands there. Okay. So do that. All right. And so I'm looking at this, and I think that part of it is that you had to become aggressive. You had to become a little bit more angry, a little bit more spiteful. Is that the word I want? And the way you talked and in your manners, the way you had to hold yourself. Have you recalled what happened at and she had Julia. Okay. There was something there, and it could just have been hormones. It could have just been hormones, but usually that means that hormones will skew something in your world, but you had to exert to be different than you were. And so that means you probably became more mama bear. You probably became more, you got more on your plate than necessary. No? Okay. Okay, so but however it is, if you can't see that you have changed, now you can even ask your girls, did my attitude change? And you're like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? If they see anything that makes it so, okay, they're showing me biting, like snapping, quick to judge. Not sure how to explain it. But it keeps you from being connected to spirit, so you can receive the flow of evolution. Okay, could it be about the hysterectomy? They're showing me that this is the way you thought you had to be towards yourself in order to make it through something. So you were done being timid and you're like, I'm coming out full blazing. It's like, again, hormones could be changing it. I do feel it's a very lot of the hormones because they're showing me cells, but they're also showing me that it changed the way you connected to your spirit. I said, if it's more of a physical operation, what I'm getting at it is that, yes, but it was a way you had to play it out. You had to change your personality because what you were doing, you didn't like how it was doing it. Oh my God. That's a lot of mess at once. But either way, happy-go-lucky to being more aggressive, happy-go-lucky to being more negative. If you can connect to this, Spirit is telling me that we need to change the electromagnetic field so that you can get back to being connected, and that this does not have to keep firing. So with the girls, they're going to take and we're going to use your magnet, and we're going to do the left side, and we're going to do the stomach. So that means you have to go to the stomach. Oop. And left side stomach, and that point right there, just before the curve, but it sits right on top of the bone. And use your magnet, 12 on each side, 24 in total, and deeply rub 30 times. Now, the thing about the stomach is that it startles you. Whatever it is, it startled you. And you're like, I'm not going to be startled again. There's this strong woman here from what I can feel. Oh. Now, I said along with that strong woman, so you had to pull yourself into becoming something. Because you had to show up from what I can feel. Okay. Now, this aggression or aggressive or aggravation that makes it more negative, what is causing this to change. This is a concern, but maybe not to you. Are you aware that you can be a bit bitey, a bit negative, a bit opinionated, but in a negative sense? Because your soul is saying that it feels drained. And what I feel is that you, are you contemplating about wanting to be, I'm this old, I'm ready to go. Are you contemplating that? I don't really want to bring this up, but are you contemplating that? Okay. The reason why I say this is because you're done with something. Okay. Now, what happens to that is that there's a disconnect from you and spirit. So you're dropping more into your left brain. So that I'm asked, did you have anything that to make you choose one side or the other? And they go, just life. I just feel deficient. I'm tired. So you're believing your body more than you're believing your spirit. You're believing the negativity and the drama and the trauma more than you are your spirit self. But without you realizing, because this is a spiritual issue that you may not see. And I said, do you want to see it? Not really. And yes, you do. I don't know why spirit is bringing this up. Well, then why are you telling us this? That the magnetic energy has caused you to stay in this. So if I were to measure, are you connected here? No, your tangi pole is not moving. Are you here? No, this energy here is not moving. So you can't even create your reality. But your reality, this is what you notice. What are you talking about? So if you wanted to connect more to your spirit, I said, is your spirit in your body? Yes. So that's not the thing. So you would correct the tangi pole. Okay. Then you would go ahead and, how do we want to put this? You're so used to letting things play out. This is why I see a decision of, I'm so done with this. I'm so done with that. I says, what else do you want? Okay, we need to change the magnetic thing on that. Okay. So large intestine, and you need to understand it's about territorial things, and it's like people are always crossing my territory in my space. So, what do you want her to do with this? Magnetic. So we're going to go to the left side here. These two fingers come down right here. Here's your magnet. Push in 30 times. Again, this is a process of seeing what you can't see, but the soul is saying in order for you to extend more of its that it wants to do on this planet, it's important that you begin to see this and say, I don't need this particular drama, this particular attitude, this particular temperament, or this particular way of being. So your soul is saying that it doesn't want to be this program anymore. It wants to be more, because it's like, I need to look and see a different purpose. But because of the negativity or things like this and the hormones, because you've had this for a while, it creates you to be here and you can't see anything other than that. You don't even know to look out to see. So they're saying that your soul is saying, we can extend your life. We can extend by taking and helping you take the physical and change the magnetic flow, or we can help change it. So at least that's one game. So I said, is it unlocked? Is there any more to unlock? They go, you're just going to have to wake up and say, wow, I do this every day like this, like in a strong conditioning of, do I want this story? Do I want this wound? Do I want to talk this way? They're saying, pay attention to how you observe and what you say. Okay. All right. That's what I have. So next we're going to take on the list, we'll take Pam. Okay. We'll take Pam. Let's see. Okay, so I'm looking at the word timid, not quite shy, but timid. I feel like you have to have this exterior, that, how do we want to put this? Okay, so when you look at timid, it's like, oh, I'm timid. I don't want to be around those people, this and this and that. But you have to give off this like energy of confidence. And I feel like you give this energy of confidence, but when the age that's giving off this particular confidence is 2 years old. So you're like, and so you have to get people to feel like they have to feel like they're intimidated by you. It's a certain protective defense mechanism, but I'm looking at that around 2 years old. Now, they said that the physical form has got to put this up. And there's a party that's like, I don't want to do that anymore. But I don't even know if you're aware that you have to put this on in order to fit. And I said, could you tell me more? And they said, yes. I've seen my family do it, therefore this is how you're supposed to do it. So you monkey see, monkey do. So you have to put an air a certain way so you don't have to feel intimidated, but you have to give that air of being uh, to those people. Does this make sense? That you're not shy. You're not, you're not going to influence me. So when your body automatically does this, it's like I have to chase down what I want. I don't know why I can't just attract it in, because you have something that's saying no. Okay, you haven't, it's not, it's an air about you. It's not necessarily a broadcast that would tell people no, but it's a certain air of energy that this is how I'm supposed to be around people. Okay. This is something that, again, you saw people do, but what we see here is that I want this. So there's this belief system that comes in and says, I want this, but you're just out of reach for it. Okay. And you have the energy of I want. So it's like I said, it's like, is it in desperation? No, it's like, I know I don't have it. That simple. I don't have it. I don't have what it takes. I don't have it. And you've then just said, okay, I'm not going to chase it anymore. But yet you can still feel that you would like something. And I don't know if this is about relationships, but I can feel your sensory system. I'm just going to check which one. Okay, so what I'm looking at is that there's something to do with a fear. A fear, but what's weird about it is that when it's kind of like consumes your sensory systems. And so I'm looking, you got me a little baffled of what your soul's trying to say here. It's my story and I'm going to stick to it. So, like, okay, so let's say you want something and you still can't, still don't see it in your life. So you make a story so you feel better. And you resided that you can't have what you want, so therefore you're sticking to it. So it's these words that and so your intuition, the ego's intuition, is to realize, not see this, but to make yourself feel better. You're going to tell yourself certain stories. And then you limit yourself to doing these things because you have a conclusion, a story. It's not about excuse or reasons, but it is to some degree when it comes to let me figure out life. This is what I've come to. And therefore, it creates this limitation. Okay? Why is this important? Because Spirit says is that you're ready to embrace, but you have emotionally repressed. And so these stories come out, and then you're going to keep doing this. I said, so do you want her to look at a particular emotion she repressed? Yes. And they said what others' emotions, others, what they may say about me, what they may do about me. So your RTJP, your right temporal junction parietal lobe, gave you the point of view that I'm incompatible. There must be something wrong. Not necessarily about you, but there must be something wrong. So it's stuck on this reasoning in this story. Can you see how you've explained, whatever it is that you want and you don't have? Well, they want you to start to they want you to do SP. So, okay, so you also have a set of meridians. So we're going to look at both sides, and we're going to look at your gallbladder. You're going to start with the left, then the right. Again, use your magnet or your hand. You're going to follow your pinky, so the outside part of your leg. You're going to go up, and you have an ankle bone, and right in front of your ankle bone is like, it'll dip in, and it'll be like a squishy part. Use your magnet there, 12 times each side, 24 in total. Deeply push, and 30 times. Go to the other foot. And then they want you to make sure that this doesn't go back. You need to go to L2S, left wrist, second position, soft. And focus on, what does gun shy mean? Getting back into the game. Gun shy. So there's a part of you that says, I had an experience, but I can't get back into the game. So something's stopping you. So you have to look at that snapshot of gun shy. So go look up what you think, or write down what you think gun shy is. Go look it up. What's the meaning of gun shy? What's the feeling of gun shy? What does it look like? All these different things, and get different meanings to create different perspectives so you can start chipping away at this. Oh my goodness. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, now we're going to go to Miss Jenno. Okay, so we have Sandy done, Pam done. Okay, Jenno, and then Davin will be after that. Okay. Again, if you're unclear, just kind of start to look at certain words and re-listen to the tape on YouTube. Look for clues. This is where you can learn to spiritually investigate with your spirit. Shutting it off only means that you're going to, how many times does it take to get slapped in order to really recognize this? And you can learn to look at it from a different point of view from your higher self, which can make you decide if you want to change your outcome, change your GPS, where you're going, change the different things for you to become a higher spiritual being. So Miss Jen, all I can hear is, what am I being? What am I being? What am I being? 1, 2, 3, 4. And my spirit goes, get them to notice it, because it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you are progressively getting further into where you need to go. So I said we could look and say, what do we need to work on? Is it the kidneys? Is it that? And they said what they really want you to do is begin to notice that you're so conditioned of certain ways of being that you don't know it's actually interfering with your energy. Do tell. So the conditioning, your stake, is that you have a phobia, and you believe this phobia is real based on your certain set of meaning to it. So it's an irrational meaning to something in your world. Okay. And it has just a feeling state. But if you can get into that irrational, your thing would be L2D. Okay. Left wrist, second position D. So I was going to leave here, and we were going to go out, and all of a sudden it was like I stopped, and I could feel my whole body, physiology going into, and I could feel that my governing meridian went down and went in this paranoia that the house is going to burn down or something. And I said, but it's not real. I've had experience of losing my things through a fire. Okay. So, and I'm like, wait, what is this? Okay. It's like, oh, now I can't remember when I had the fire. Maybe one of you remember when I had the fire, when my building burnt down, but I could feel it, and I stopped, and it was like, I I can't just walk out the door when I know I'm ready and I'm done. I had to go into this irrational fear. I gotta go check. Did I leave the electricity on anywhere? And then I usually have this one light that turn on, so when I come home in the dark, I can see it come around the corner. Oh, what if that bulb, it causes a fire? And so I shut that off. I'm like, what the f? And I was fully aware spiritually that this is irrational. So I have to sit in. So I didn't have time to sit and heal that. So I just turned around and said, okay, this is ridiculous. This irrational. So I focused on how I knew the irrational. So I'm trying to gather, look, play out this irrational fear. Check this, check that. Tap, 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 tap. Kept disrupting, tap, 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 disrupting even the heart. So if you just had time to do these, which creates a tsunami in the brain, which sends the signals, and the heart connection, you want to get it to back. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, good. Okay. So you have to look at what the irrational fear is. Yeah, I just wish I could remember the year or the month. The month especially, I think it was 2007. But irrational, I need you to get into, like, the past says, oh my God, I went through this experience. It's going to go in the future. It's going to happen again. And if I worry about it, then I'm prepared so it won't happen again. And but you're locked into a prison in a hellish state of being on earth, that you have to constantly be in this irrational fear that it is affecting your physical form. So you got to begin to notice and say, stop. It's not logical and smart and all that. It is irrational fear. So if you are always sitting there going, I have to worry or afraid of my kids, it's irrational. Yes, things can happen, but you don't want to invest that in the universe. You're going to cancel, clear, and delete. But you do it to protect yourself. You do it, and then you avoid things in life, and you switch to different things in life, that it causes you to not be present to be in your life. Okay, if that makes sense. What's it about? I'm going to go back to. See, it goes back to round 2 and 3. You physically, mentally, and emotionally witnessed so many things, but you built a story around it, your life around it. Now I said, if there's any, it's so I think it's about death of a person, death of animals, death of this. And so if you were to really be in that spiritual space, then all of a sudden death would not have the process of death it may not happen. It won't respond. I look at, because I process so much about death, that I understand what the soul's saying. It isn't about me and this situation. It isn't about me, and it's about and it's. So I've changed the me. I changed the fear. I've changed the irrational, and because my soul already knows. It's just, all these. I have a lot of knowledge, and so that I can be and do something different. So, that's what I wanted to open it. Real quick, we will go and look at irrational. And an intense, a disappropriated fear of something that processes little to actually no danger. But it has a story, it has a root, it has a backdrop. I said, so do you have to heal anything to do with your grandma dying? And it is actually no. But it is this, your little had this irrational fear. I says, what could we do so they can stop popping up? You got to stop believing your own BS, for one. Makes my ankle funny right now. And they said the outside and relationships. So they're talking about this is you and relationships to the scalar field. So your little made it about herself. That's normal. And I said, well, is there anything we can help? And they said, people were mean to you. Mean. They were mean. They were acting mean. Your little says, oh God, I hated that the most. And I said, did the death bother you? No, it's people acted mean. So basically, did you bring to your space that people are just supposed to act mean? You marry somebody, have friendships, they're supposed to act mean. And but that's normal to you. So they're telling me if you can get into that, then you can go to tap out T1, T5, T9, because you only know your personality from then, as that your peace has to be gone. So it becomes an identity that peace has to be gone or feeling attacked. And you have those two particular things. I would say right wrist, second position, deep. You know that L2D is about irrational fear, but to tap out T1, T5, and T9, very simply, it's T1, T5, and then T9. Okay. And you have to really focus on feeling attacked or your peace is gone. And this, for a child of 2 or 3 to have no cognitive ability to process this, will take the emotion and then create the story and encase an irrational fear. Okay. But you have to begin to undo this. So again, it's a spiritual thing like your mother, that you have to begin to say, oh, I can see where that's irrational. You say, thank you, Spirit. Spirit will show you where it becomes irrational. Do you understand? All right, Miss Davin. Anything particular that you wanted? You usually have a lot of good questions. You usually so looking for Miss Davin. I have something strange to say. Spirit is playing in my feminine energy, and I have to transform it to masculine. So if you're too much of one thing, so again, if you are both as a human being, to make this function, you have to have yin and yang. And if you are too much of one thing, you can go from extremes to these either extremes. Okay. And to be really a strong spiritual human, there's a part of you that needs to be able to create the unity so both of them work together, because one cannot live without the other. But if you have a strong opinion or something like this, it can cause you to, or you have to act a certain way. You could be too much of this and too much of that. So this then would have to say, how do you know that to be true? Because in the feminine energy, you could say what people are thinking with feminine energy, or you can actually go for the list and say, what does the feminine, or I should say, what does yang and yin, what are the properties of yin and yang? And then you're going to go, oh, then you can start seeing a little bit more about the feminine energy. But if you're having it based on the fact is as if you're a male and you're showing feminine tendencies based on the way the world says that's wrong, again, don't. That's you learning. So I had to learn to be more yang in order to live in a male society. But I also had to bring in more yin because I identify as female. Okay. My cisgender is feeling female. And so, I had to explore this. But I am not one to really do my nails, put on makeup, do any of this because it's just, but yet I got to appreciate, to value, to love, all of these things. So I don't live in a separation and I don't have to be too aggressive. But if you look at the properties, it's supposed to be that energy comes in and energy is an action. And so you have these two things that are always working together. Yes, thank you, Pam, for that wonderful gift to those wonderful people. And I'm holding space for all of you to be able to see what your soul wants you to see. And I know that you can heal this. I know you can move mountains. I don't know if KB was here. I heard what I said. Hopefully so. I'm looking for Davin, but I'm not. Well, where did it go? Did it move? Oh, you said in the payment. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to go back into, I have to open up, can't get it off my phone. So give me a minute, I'll find it. So anyway, give me 1 second. I'll drink some of my stuff, and then we will be able to go from there. Oh, yes, we can do that. Do I stay quiet, or is it okay to add to? Because I can be as discreet as you want me. Okay. First of all, the question, here we go. The question for you, Miss Davin, is I don't know what your physical limitations are. I know you had an operation. I know that you have family that is concerned about you. So my question then becomes this. How many hours can you put in? The person that you're working with, is there another person that does that kind of job that maybe needs you to do that kind of job? So you're developing an area of my experience is this. So if you can't get it from them, can you find somebody else that does that type of thing? Now, when it comes to the question that you're asking, I'm going to look specifically, can we open this up so that she can allow in? Is there anything stopping her from having what she wants? Yes. And then it's feeling deficient, mentally, emotionally, physically. So you feel like, yes, I have physical limitations that stop me. But this is just a habit of feeling this way? Yes. Okay. But the broadcast from others, from yourself. So you have okay, we are looking at a broadcast. So you have a broadcast from you that it says that I'm supposed to let things play out habitually. And it has to, okay, so your life is always played out based on another person that has always told you how to do things and be things, and they're not there. And so the broadcast is you want this person that you're with to give you more of what you want, and you're seeking what you need through just this person. Okay. So the question then becomes, are you even aware that you have this broadcast? No. And because it is a broadcast, is it coming from the, yes, we can do that. So your body is producing a certain amount of sound, a certain amount of story. And it's like if you went into a classroom and all of a sudden you were like, I don't want these people to come to me, you'll have this broadcast that'll say, F off, stay away, I don't want to talk. Okay. And your broadcast is, I need you to help give to me because I don't know how to really give. So there's a process of this. So it then ends up going from like family to other people, and they're like, but I can't give to you any more than I can. And then you're like, So we can help you take care of this broadcast. So this broadcast message has a lot to do with how you were taught physically that you are learned helplessness. And you know you're not. You know you're not, but the physical body still has this story. So you think physical learned helplessness, and they said they want you to go ahead and, if you can, use your hand, or you get some type of thing like I have a drum thing, or you can use and you tap your spine. Okay, you can use a comb or a brush or a back scratcher. But you're going to go down to L5. Now, L5 looks like it's in my butt. No, it's actually where your pants would sit. If you can see the shape of this person, and it's your waist and your waist area, right on the spine, right next to the spine on each side. Don't hit directly, hit around it. Okay. But you're just a small concussion. Okay. 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 I got to open up the bigger screen. But anyways, you will think learned helplessness. Yes, you had this, you're growing out of it, but the broadcast is there. So first you're going to tap L5 and you're going to think learned helplessness. Put your hand on your head, breathe in and out. Learned helplessness. You tap L5 as you're doing this, in and out 3 times. And then we're going to go into, okay, so you're going to take your hand, and it doesn't matter which hand, you're going to place on your forehead, and you're going to say, broadcast, learned helplessness. Broadcast, learned helplessness. Take it off, bring it forward, learned helplessness. Okay. Broadcast, learned helplessness. And you're going to do that 10 times. All right. Because it's inside the governing body, the governing vehicle, the governing meridian, which governs you, which governs everything around it. And you don't need to be governed by this. So we're going to take that out. Okay. All right. Yeah, I got to get to the other screen so I can see better, which is right there. Got it. Okay, so now I'm going to go here. Let's see. You can't handle walking or standing for more than 2 hours. Okay. So thank you, Spirit. You're going to show me a job I can do to, what I can do. So if you don't believe in yourself, or if you don't know, just start saying thank you, Spirit, so that you can attract in different movies and things like this that show that they can do many things. Like athletes, they can do many things. Okay. Encourage yourself. So you will begin to, there's something called the Golden Lasso. You can go to my website and get off the healing tools, the Golden Lasso. And there's a part of you that you're saying to Spirit, I would like this particular job for this, or particular money, or I'd like to see something more of. And so instead of going, I'm looking at what I'm missing or what I don't have, you're like, okay, I'm going to say, thank you, Spirit, for bringing it in, make it louder than, that I can do this. So how you got the particular thing that you're doing, you got it that similar way. And so an opportunity appeared and you can do it. Now you're going to say, thank you, Spirit, for more of that. Or what else can I do? Maybe you can go to and see if there's a job at a pet shelter or something where you can feed the animals or something. We don't know what the job is. Like I created my job out of thin air, and you can do the same thing. You're going to say, okay, I'm going to line up to something that is important to me. So in order to help you get aligned up to it, there's a part of you that thinks people look at you and then judge you. And then, so you can feel their invading energies, like to say, oh, you're that. You understand what I'm saying? But you also can do what's called connections. Hey, do you know anybody that has a job that would do, that would help fit me by asking? And somebody say, oh yeah, I know somebody that does it. So it's called like 6 degrees. So people that if they can't help you, they may know somebody that can help you. But you're saying is the stamina is your issue. Okay. But the point is that your brain is saying that it's so used to that it doesn't have the stamina. So what do? You have to exercise physical therapy. Are you doing your physical therapy to increase your stamina? They're saying that also if you were to right hand first position deep, okay, push in deep, and you say, I don't have the stamina. How do you know that from 0 to 10? 10 being, I can physically feel this. Or, oh, this is what happens to my head. Or I start doubting myself. Or I can hear my family saying that you can't. Okay, you can measure those, stay in that position because your body is asking you to grow. So an athlete is not an athlete unless they put time and effort to do. Physical therapy, you may be destroyed, but physical therapy, you take care of it right away. You open up the fascia, you take care of all this, and the next thing you know, you can do these things, okay? So it's in the limitations. And so when you're noticing, My surgeon never said anything about that, and I guess I don't really need it since I can walk now. Okay, but you said that your stamina, you understand? So let me help you understand this a little bit more. Okay? When you are learning to grow or to do something, you have to practice to do it. And you're saying that you don't have the ability to sustain prolonged physical or mental effort. And are you getting enough sleep? Are you moving the energy? Were you told this? Because you've had your aberrations, you can do more. But to be able to do more, you're going to have to train the body and the mental at the same time to be able to know that you can do more. Like I started to walk, I couldn't really walk far, but now I can do up to 12K. I don't like to do that long thing. So I'm working on my body. I'm working on building the muscles, the tendons, and the ligaments to support the fact that I want to walk longer than a couple Ks. Okay. I could say that I don't have the physical or the mental effort. The mental effort is how maybe you are self-talking. I would look at a hill and I'm like, oh my God. Well, I measured that, healed it out. Now when I look at the hill, I just maybe tip my hat and I look down and I've got this. I've got this. It's like, I think I can, like the choo-choo train. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting in my head. I'm doing mind over matter. And the next thing you know, I'm over this hill. But because I'm building muscle and doing other things on the side to support what I want to do, then all of a sudden I remember how I couldn't do it. And I was, oh, wow, I can do it. So it's how are you showing up to yourself to support yourself mentally and physically? Okay. But if you just keep believing you can't, you're going to get more of the same thing. But if you say, what can I do to change the thought pattern, to change the physical, that's going to support me to endure more, to be able to do more, then it's required of you to do the effort that is necessary to see improvement. But if you are not comparing and saying, oh, I don't see any improvement, and you expect, so let's say you can't lift 100 pounds and you beat yourself up, that needs to be changed because the body is capable of repairing and growing. And if you would intentionally show up for yourself and say, okay, I'm going to start off with 10 pounds. And then you talk to an instructor, like my husband lifts weights. So he knows how to do this and he instructs people. And so he was able to instruct me how to do so many reps or so many pounds and then do just that extra enough so that the brain doesn't go, oh, you're limited. The brain needs to go, oh, we're doing a little bit more. The brain says, hold on, got to recalculate. Oh, yes, we can. So then the next day or the following week, however often you do your physical therapy and you're dedicated, you're going to devote that time. So then all of a sudden, now you've gone up to 12 pounds. Now you've gone up to 15. Now you've gone up. And so that's why I was able to do 125 pounds and you can do so many reps. Now, you stop doing it, you're not going to be able to do it. You'll have to start over again. But if you stay consistent with the lifestyle, okay, you make it a part of your lifestyle, like eating, then your body is going to go, oh, this is what they want. It isn't just a one-off. So how do you want to show up for yourself is very important. Yes, Autumn is an example of how, she had that stroke as a baby. She's not going to be able to do much. She can't be on her own. I mean, there can be all sorts of things, worry, fear, reality. But at the same time, she shifted her mindset to saying, I want more. And then when you do, spirit starts providing answers and people and situations and opportunities. So it's again switching. So if you're getting too much sleep, then you have to understand that you have to choose your lifestyle. How are you showing up for yourself? Saying, do I get up on a certain time? Do I go to bed at a certain time? And do I add these things that's going to promote health? Yes. Oh, that was my phone. So when you have like rehab, when I broke my fingers, this hand, my dominant hand, went dumb. And so this one was like, oh, I get to step up to the plate and like see what I can do. So I didn't realize that I could be ambidextrous, and my hand's like, yeah, I can do everything this one can't. As soon as this one got better, this one went dumb. I'm like, what's happening? Well, this one was like, I'm ready to get back into the game, but it was clumsy. I pick up a knife and I'm like, whoa. And I had to learn, and I couldn't just grab and hold on to rice because it would just fall out of my hand. So I was told, and my body took its time. It wasn't like it could do like other people did, and that was fine. I didn't condemn myself. And they told me because I don't have, um, somebody to come in and help me separate these two, I will never be able to do it. And the negative mindset on this person went to some negative mindset. I'm like, really? Thank you, Spirit, for bringing to me somebody that can do this. And that's what happened, is that I sat there and say, well, what can I do for myself? So as I isolate and cause this to happen, I'm doing things they told me I couldn't do. I actually can hold very tight. I've got a nice grip. They never got set, so they don't, so they fold in wrong, but that's okay. It's not going to stop me because I already see it whole. I already see it can do it. They said, oh, you're going to have arthritis. I have not had any issues with it. Okay, because you exercise, you move, you get the fascia to move. And if you have problems with fascia buildup, then use what's called scraping to help to take care of the tension, take care of all of this. Magnetism helps, yes. But hang around and listen. It's not about comparing. It's about, you're my catalog. Oh, I can do this. Other people already have, and I'm going to do it too. So it can help you build a basis, if this makes sense. Okay. So to build the stamina, first thing is we got to get the mind right. You already had this. You can re-listen to it again. But at the same time, I also want you to do right wrist, second position deep. And I want you to notice that you got to measure. I don't have. I can't because. Fill them in, measure it, hold R2D, sit there and look at how you deeply know that belief and get it down to zero. If it comes up again, or you're automatically going to go, oh, I can't. Oh, wait a minute. Do I need to? You have to catch when you're talking. You have to catch. Go back, measure it. Yes. I mean, to the point where I asked myself when I barely touched the wall, my body goes, ow. And I'm like, why did I say ow? Oh, I almost ran in that wall, but my body said I ran the wall. So I have to do an automatic knee-jerk reaction of saying, ow, and whine about it. But is that true? No. So I flipped the script. Now my body don't do that. Or you drop something. Oh, I got to go through this whole drama. Oh, I dropped a fork. Now I got to rewash it. Now I just go, oh, and a 1 and a 2. You flip the script. You got to be in charge of how you're going to talk to yourself with the story. I was wondering, though, is what you said earlier is also stopping me from getting the Social Security money. Probably my mom have tried to getting it for me. Okay, so there's a part that maybe find out what the requirements means. Is there an age, or are you doing? Okay, here's going to be the kicker. If you are disabled, if you know that if you got healthy and strong and you don't need that, some people are like, oh my God, I got to stay broken. I got to stay disabled because I won't know how to get money any other way. And so it becomes a catch-22. And if you don't believe in yourself, or you're tired of doing this and you don't want to do this, then I'm not trying to cut anybody down. I'm just saying it can become a crutch to the point where you will limit yourself. If you want to grow and you want to be happier and healthier and to achieve, then you may not be in this. Now, I said, is there anything stopping her from getting this Social Security money or any of that other stuff? And they said the physical body is saying that, so the nerve compensation, contempt. So what do you want? So what they want you to do is also, again, okay, so it's like, I can't. So the body's going to yell at you before you do. And it also has a lot to do with why you said you can't get that as well. So we want to change the way your inner world tracks in. So you're going to make sure you go into, I can't do it again. One, you can go R2D, go, I can't do it again. Or you can, and you can take your tapping device and go down and start tapping at T1 at the top, and T5, which is here, and T9, which is here. Okay. And tap those, breathing. I can't. You kind of see it, look at that intuition, feel how the body says, I'm restricted. Get the body to open up. Correct. Okay. So again, if they see is that your health is good, then they won't want to give it to you. So the question is, do you want to keep going on the road of I'm healthy, or do you want to fill the requirement that they're asking, which is that you're not sick enough? And when some people, when you have to get your needs met, you'd be surprised of what you'll do. You prostitute yourself out. You will become less than in order to have or to do the thing that you need. You could sabotage yourself. Same situation. So if you're looking at this as your answer, then you're going to miss all of those other opportunities. If you believe this is the only answer, then you are missing all of those other opportunities. And if you keep doing this, you're going to put you in a state of being upset, sad. You'll have interference pattern, and you'll be a program. You will not allow yourself to evolve. So it's like, if let's say I needed money and one of my cousins had money. I've never talked to him or anything. Oh, but the answer's there. I'm going to go and beg, borrow, and whatever to get that money. But I don't need to be at that mercy. What if they were not there? What if Social Security wasn't there? What if it wasn't an opportunity? Then you say, thank you, Spirit, for bringing in some other resolution, another opportunity. So open it up to more opportunities. Because again, if that was not available, you then could say, oh, I'm going to look over here. But if you're saying, oh, I can only see this and I don't have it, then you're going to go in, I can't, I don't. You stay in a negative state. Does that make sense? Clear out the negative state. Raise that vibration. Get into alignment to something different. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Someone says, good job. I'm natural heals. Nature heals itself by itself, and I will stick to everything has its right time. Oh, I'm not telling you to do anything different. You just mentioned something. You do what's right for you. You absolutely know who you are. You stick with it. I am not your enemy. It's just a different point of view. It says, outside of what ego thinks, what will make your soul happy? You are meant to discover that you're a spiritual being and that you were born in this body to be able to have. But when you have certain things that need to be met, we will forget how to ask and be in that state of, thank you, Spirit, please provide. It's like, we need rain. You don't sit there and pray, rain, rain, rain. You go, I know what rain feels like. I know what this needs. I'm looking around going, I am going to be thankful and grateful. And then you come into alignment. And when you begin to know thyself, you begin to say, okay, I'm seeing a need. I believe in that. Nope, gonna cancel and clear. Thank you, Spirit. And then it's like, I'm hungry. Thank you, Spirit. And all of a sudden, a rabbit goes by, and God provided. The animal provided. But if you can't do that, then just say, okay, thank you, Spirit. Can you provide something else? And let's say a bush shows berries. Okay. So again, having that loving relationship to having a higher intuition. Okay. But I'm just saying that your physical being is being controlled by your chemical peptides. you, as a spirit being, can help your body break up the relationship with this chemical peptides so that you can rise higher in more of a heart brain coherence. But you won't know that until you apply the tools and start noticing that there is a difference in the way you can show up for yourself. Okay. All right. So now we have, oops, Joe Mama. Okay. So Joe Mama, we're going to put down that. I really feel this heartfelt, wonderful thing that's happened. It's beautiful. But there's something that has to do with the physical form. And as I'm looking at the physical form, you can feel this invading energy. And it's in the sacral area of the spinal sacred. And they're saying that it actually can interfere with relationships. And so they're saying that you're like, no, 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 no. So I'm looking around 4 years old that you're just like, no, 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 no. So I feel like there's something to do with your um, reproductive system to the private part area. And there's some fear. And I feel like sometimes this fear is other people's fear. I don't want this to happen to my kid. I don't want this and that. And all of a sudden, there can be the fact is you feel like maybe you identified with somebody that, oh, something did happen. Or there could be actually something that happened. But the point is a physical body, and whatever it learned at 4, the physical body is saying, I can't. I feel deficient. You are not having good relationships with your first chakra or your sacral energy field, and it is actually stopping you because there's a certain amount of fear. So what they want you to do is to um, if you want to do help your physical body to process. Did you want which way you want? Okay. So the body's responding, you're mentally and emotionally are growing, but your physical body is holding on to a story that may or may not be true. It could be just something that you associated with. But the point is, the body says, I've remembered and I don't want to go there again. And it feels like the piece is gone. So you're going to tap T1, T5, and T9. So you're using your physical body and you're tuning into, oh yeah, I know that feeling. And you are then going to look at how the brain's sending signals to your spine. So you're just going to breathe in and out 3 times, go to those areas, T1, T5, T9, and then release it because the body is meant to start to evolve with you and not be stuck in a particular time. Which means that when you're sitting in a situation, you're not going to have to feel this restriction, this limitation, these fears. Your body's going to say, okay. And as your body starts to show up for you, you don't have to believe some of your belief systems. You'll feel more open or less fearful. Along with that, I would say the compulsion. There's a compulsion of whether you take your energy and go in too far, or this compulsion of being in this rest development, meaning I can't, I have to go back into, so I got to say, stop myself. Understand the word compulsion. Look and see how you may do it, and then hold right wrist first position, nice and deep, R1D. How you understand what compulsion means and change the chemical peptide in your body. Heal it to 0. Okay. That's funny. I lost my screen. There it is. Now I'm going to get the link and we're going to go over and get my next guest. And we go. Not there. Aha. And then it's restarting itself. There we go. Okay. Here she comes. I caught something on a higher vibration, that good energy you feel when listening to an inspirational talk. Awesome. Yes, I do know that. But when I return to everyday life and things start, lowering my vibration. Hold on, I gotta wait till my screen. Come on. Oh, good. Or I feel like I forget that wisdom I caught. Or maybe life itself is starting to teach me that wisdom. Thank you for all what you shared. I send love and all that I can. Thank you. Well, thank you. Now, what's happening is that you're building a matrix for yourself, a new one from your spiritual aspect. But the moment you go out and you interact with that, it's your aura interaction with other people, or you go in back into the 3D world, back into the collective. But how you do this is you keep showing up for yourself, keep tapping out those emotional chemical peptides, and the body and you begin to become more of a spiritual human. So then you get to become that into the 3D world, and you be operating in a different sense. But you don't have to forget that wisdom. You start to apply it, because the more you fire and wire, think and feel the new way of wanting to be, your brain creates a program. So when you go out there, your brain goes, hey, do you want this or do you want this? Now, it's because you're spiritual, you can start seeing the choice. Otherwise, it's just going to go to the most efficient, which is the old way, because it's familiar. But as you wake up, your brain is going to go, oh, I'm going to try this. So what happens is that you will meet your spiritual human self, will start meeting your choice points. Instead of going, oh my God, and then where the emotions, where the stories, where all of that, and be in the 3D world, you're taking these off and you're looking at the choice point, and you get to make the choice of, do you want to, how much life force do you want to add to this story? What do you want to do and how you do it? And you, again, you expose yourself like exercise. You do the work, you put in the effort. This is why I keep all my videos up, because many people have told me, I've gone back and listened to your stories, listened to your stuff, and it has helped me to hold the new thought processing of spirit talking, spirit speaks. And then I can see it, that now all of a sudden I'm taking this mask off and I'm starting to develop my spiritual self, so that when I look out there and it's happening around me, I don't have to go back into the vibration and let the interference patterns control me. I can maintain who I am in my cup of peace while everything is happening. You have comment on that?
Yeah, you can. I mean, I have watched every single one of your videos, if not once, at least 5 times.
Okay, and why did you do so?
To learn and anytime a story would resonate with me and you gave somebody a point, I would hold that point or do the tapping, whatever it was. And all of a sudden I started shifting my world.
Right. Did you have problems talking to people because you didn't watch news anymore, or sports or whatever? You chose not to do all that 3D stuff that says that you're supposed to do. I don't want to gossip anymore. And what really changed?
I don't watch the news. If I watch anything on TV, it's something that I'm streaming that I know is not going to pull me into a lower frequency.
Very good. But can you relate to people in 3D? I mean,
Oh yeah.
but do you want to have them give you the point of view that you're supposed to look at?
No.
You're aware that you're like, wait a minute, that's you. So you can learn to agree to
Yep.
disagree. You go, okay, that's fine.
Hmm.
Um, do you still get people trying to push you to believe them?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then now you have the tool of, instead of just being behavior versus behavior, it is to get up and to go and change the vibration that says, I
Hmm.
have to have them do this, or I'm just going to walk away because I don't need to do this.
Yeah,
So you're
exactly.
learning a different way. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. How are you and how can I help?
I am good. It's been a really strange few days.
Okay. So I do know that the time period of things, how the body has gone through, and you're like, but I'm here in this age, this body, and my body is acting something 10, 20 years ago. What? I mean, I felt it, and it's something in the whole planet. Like, I came from Michigan, and I live in Australia, and my body has been like, oh, no, we're not going to go to sleep because this is because I would have been awake.
Mhm.
And I would have had gone through this. And that's why I was trying to remember when my building burnt down. And I can't remember if it was before winter or before spring. Um, I know if I can remember mom and my mother-in-law, my ex-mother-in-law and father's death, then I can remember the fire because it was all three happened like just a couple days apart. So it was my fire, dad, and then mom. And it was like boom. And you're like, "Ooh." You have to plan two funerals. You got to clean up the fire mess because you got the county on your butt. But for some silly reason, I don't know if it was just coming out of winter or if we were going into winter. And I can't tell if it was spring or fall. And if I could tell, then because my body's been acting weird. And then the experiment of walking on my house going, oh, it's going to burn down. And I'm thinking, did it happen? Did it happen in the fall? But the body is the one that's responding.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, I my body was responding like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Today has been a fairly decent day. Yesterday was a fairly decent day, but Thursday and Friday, it was like a complete crap show.
Okay. And
And the only reason I know this is my dad fell and broke his neck on the 25th of October. The only way I knew that is through memories on Facebook.
so
But I thought
spirit,
it was earlier.
so you're learning to wake up, take the mask off, and learn to hear with your spiritual human self. So what are you being? Doobie doobie doo. But what you're realizing is that the physical has had a journey, and that physical consciousness, the body's consciousness, holds a different way of being,
Hmm.
and we haven't taken care of some of these roots. I think why it's coming up is because we're changing the way the vertical and the horizontal are communicating. So everything that just seemed like it was flat, so where you can see all of the crap, you know, and all the stuff that came to the surface. Now it's starting to come out of the flatness, like everything, because everything to me is done in a spiral and it's like this. But then it flattened out so we could see. Now I feel like we're learning to do this. And we're taking the wisdom of all the stuff that we had so we can move into the 5D particular world with more of the sense of our spiritual consciousness being conscious. And so you being, I'm healing myself, not that you have things to heal or that you're a mess. It is part of my journey is the healer's journey and not just a hero's journey. So it's you know that part of you have been learning about energy pulls.
Hmm.
So because you're aware that you're learning about energy pulls, spirit's going to go, oh, there's one, there's one. Oh, what? Oh, there's one.
Hmm.
But not, not just with the physical, you can also hear what you're supposed to spiritually, the issue to heal out of.
Hmm.
Okay. So you're here. One of the things I see is that you, the language of communication, when two people get together, creating that scalar field, is the communication of discouragement. So why would one want to discourage another?
To get what they want.
Okay. And how about they would discourage because they have fear because they can't do it. You can't do it.
If they can't do it, you can't do it.
So that's two. Anybody else watching? Why would somebody use discouragement? Again, it's about them. Like they don't want to do something. So let's say you wanted to be a little model and your mom's going, oy vey, no. But I won't tell her that. I will encourage her, but I will discourage her because I don't want to. I've got too much to do. I'm already working full time. I'm doing all this. Da, 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 I don't have time. But so they'll discourage you. Oh, you don't want to do that today. And you're like,
Hmm.
oh, you don't need to spend your money on that. And you're like, what? Because these are gods to you. You're like, sure, okay, fine, you're right. Da, 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 da. So letting other
Mhm.
people's point of view change you. Now, why they bring up the word discouraged is because, from what I can see, is okay, let's go from another angle. Why do you need to attract in? You don't have to chase, you are attracting. But why are you attracting in people that, and it's a habit, so I'm going to answer that. Ooh, it's also something else. What are you attracting in? You're attracting in, it's not about your show, it's about real life people. They are stuck in their programs,
Mhm.
their hysterical dramas. Why do you think you're attracting that in now instead of 3 months ago?
Because of this big transition that's going to happen next month.
Very good. Now, very good. You are aware of what's happening. Now, so this physical body is saying it's related to, from what I can feel, is the pictures that are connected to the stories about how to keep around the homestead, to give you reasons and excuses and stories to rip up your ticket, to say no to the journey because you're more important. You have to stay here. So you're meant to hear discouragement. Now I'm going to give you an example. Another one, okay? So to create heaven on earth or hell on earth, we get into this thing called hell. And a lot of people don't realize that they got a hellish mindset or the hellish way of being. It's just a very pessimistic, nocebo effect type of reality. So here you are, you're healing each day. Now, there's no gates to hell, but you're running. You're like, oh, the door's left open. You're ready to run to get out of this hellish state. But how you know yourself? If you don't know yourself, you will get gnawing, the gnashing of all of your fears, your thoughts, other people's beliefs to stop you. And that becomes the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you will believe it and fall for it. And you'll second guess yourself.
And you don't
Now,
have to.
to see that there's no gate, you have to also see that you don't have to believe everything you tell yourself. Hashtag, I don't have to believe my own BS. So, what's being presented is that you have other people that are going to show up as hysterical about your making a choice. I get to make my choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so do they believe that you can't do it? No, they're making it about themselves.
Mm-hmm. How am I going to be without you? Um, I'm going to miss you. I'm not going anywhere.
Uh, Robin says, wow, that's an awful thought of tearing up ticket. But this is part of that prostitute, the saboteur,
Mhm.
the child of many faces, and the victim mindset. And you're going to challenge yourself about this spiritual human independence that you're meant to develop yourself to be. Will your programs convince you as having energy to go out and make other people show up? And you're like, oh, I shouldn't. Now, I didn't second guess myself when I left, but I also did a lot of healing. But I've seen people that did no healings go to take a big leap. And even though they said they had faith that they could trust, but it turned out to be the most horrific thing. So, what you're choosing is to say, okay, I'm ready to heal all the things that's going to stop me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And one of the things is that how do you know what discouragement is? Because it's apparently been a big part of your language growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So, who in the last week, because you've been interacting with more humans, meaning physical spaces instead of just through the internet, you understand? That,
MD.
okay, so notice how in them they are discouraged and how that sets a tone. But then they're discouraged, or they'll want to discourage you because they want something, or But notice one of the things that you're meant to see is when a person is in their hells, and as a child, you would have just saw that as normal, and you would have thought it was your fault.
Mm-hmm.
But it's teaching you that maybe your mom and dad were having struggles just like you would be as an adult. And
Mm-hmm.
so you're meant to view something that's happened in the past, not from a child's perspective. Okay. So what I'm seeing is that, oh God, Amy, I love you. I don't really, oh man, you're going to be up there forever. So I'm displaying my worries and my fears about you being on a plane, or I'm displaying my worries and fears that what if it crashes? Well, do you have, you know, who's going to be your, what is it? I remember the first time I had to fill out to come here. It was who's your next to kin. So if anything happened, who
Mm-hmm.
would be notified? I didn't have anybody. The destination, yes, but the life I was leaving behind, because it couldn't be my ex. And I went down to devastate my emergency contact. That's it. And I was like, who do I got? Um, I second guessed myself just for a moment or two because I like, oh, I don't have anybody. And I started to want to go down that fear. And I said, wait, why am I discouraging myself? You know, people say, well, you got cold feet. Maybe that's a sign. No, it was, I never thought of this. And then I went into a dwelling of how other people thought, oh my God, in fear. I'm like, whoa, why am I following how other people think? Again, I
Mm-hmm.
was not aware of that until I got to the plane. Okay. So we have to become more aware of programs that are unraveling itself, which means the condition. And one of your conditions that I'm seeing that makes you take action because you have a habit, which causes that has to do with the engram. And the engram has to do like a steak and Pavlov's conditioning. So there's something that's going to make you salivate, or in this case, something is going to make you go into anxiety. Something. And so it's like, what is this something? And it is how your body is electromagnetically attracting or not attracting towards yourself that you kind of, it's like, it's going to sound stupid and strange, but bear with me. You've heard stories from people about, uh, will I have a funeral? Will anybody show up? You know,
Mm-hmm.
will anybody care? Now, does that come from your higher self or does that come from your program?
That comes from the program.
Okay. But did you ever watch TV or hear people talk about, will anybody show up? Especially like your dad. Would your dad say, did he talk about death? Did he, talk about funerals? Anybody?
No, he didn't really.
Okay, mom? Because see, the reason I'm asking is because they were socialites to some degree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, Not that I remember, no.
Okay. So you may not because it's not something that stuck out to you, but your body is saying that everything equals everything. And when I'm going to do what I want to do, it's got to equal to this invading energy from the outside that makes me see that I'm supposed to disconnect from my spirit because they're correct.
That makes sense.
So the engram is that I'm supposed to disconnect. If I see somebody not trusting the process, using their intuition, or doing all of this, then I'm supposed to become self conscientious, meaning I have to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been presented with people, whether they're physical or through the internet, that is showing concern and that you should do the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
When this happens, there's a part of you that feels split.
That makes sense.
Spirit says, I'm going to do this. The other part of the identity is I'm looking at how it's locked in your coccyx, in your tailbone type area. They want me to have you begin to tap, but hold on, I got to figure out where because Um, okay, so we want to see that it is in, I'm looking at S3, which is the sacral, which is, I don't know if you can do it sitting down. You may have to do it later.
All right,
But
stand up over here and do it.
yeah, she's got to go smack her own ass. But it has a lot to do with the body saying that it is, I'm incapable. You kind of believe to some extent that you are incapable of that, the will to do it, my own volition to do it because of these programs. And I feel this is very strong, especially around 11 years old, where the body said, I'm incapable. And you had like, was going to do it until somebody gives you, and you're like, maybe they're right. So this is gaslighting. This is maybe not true gaslighting, but what happens is that we let other people skew our view. You're kind of smirking.
I just had I was at my godmother's house and I was about 11 years old and yeah, it's just I remember I there's a picture, but I remember carving the pumpkin and was I doing it the right way? And because she was so artsy and I can't draw for shit, but it was like I felt so um deficient.
Very good. Hold L2D. So when you exerted yourself to do art, you basically said, I can't, and your identity of deficiency.
Hmm.
So who are you looking that you're comparing yourself? Are you comparing yourself to me going, oh, I can't? Are you comparing yourself to somebody that were for flying or compare? Do you understand what I'm saying? There's a part of you that doesn't want to, oh God. And it could be just because you may meet me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because you've had this before. You would meet people that were in your mind and or that you've known through the internet, and you go to meet them and your body starts to fall apart.
Hmm. Hmm.
So deep down, you compared and you didn't even know you did. You already had it in your mind, in the imagination station,
Hmm.
that they're doing it better than me. Now they're asking me to do it, or I have to prove that I can do it.
Hmm.
But see how the little girl, go into that little girl and look at her right now. Ask her to hold the same position you have, but get the number of how real it felt for her.
She's saying it was really high. I just heard 5,000 from her.
Right. So if she felt the invading energy or bigger or anything, her body said, when I see this, and I am supposed to do this. So 11 wasn't the only time. They said when you were about 3 weeks old and you had been in this energy field. So is that when you were adopted?
I was 6 weeks old.
Okay, so that means you must have been in a foster care or somewhere
Hmm.
else, and you must have met somebody that said, "Oh my God, I can't do this. It's a newborn." Blah blah blah. Do you understand?
Hmm.
Or something. You know this energy field, and it's not just from when you're 11. Okay, you may not understand it, but what your body is saying is, "Oh my God, it's got a language."
Hmm.
Oh God, I felt that one.
Oh, full body chills.
Exactly. It's making the hairs on my legs stand up if I had any. Robin is too. So that means you guys' nipple pops as well. Because again, when you have that full body, you can feel like your hair is doing this. Everything in your body is doing things it shouldn't.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Okay, when are you gonna get through this? Holy moly cakeys. Oh, do I need to help hold space? I could. I'm going to hold R2D. 1, 2. Oh, God. Oh, so kind of is that we've all been through this relationship, been through these energy fields. Okay, my spine was twisting. Okay, my spine's a little better now. And I feel like now it's like really fucking cold in here. Focusing on that, the physical body. Oh, so it's the physiology. I'm not what they wanted. You just sent me, I'm not what they wanted. I'm going to write that down. Hold on. I didn't expect that to come from me. I am not what. This is okay. So you get your butt going too, Miss Robin. This is, I'm not what they wanted. And so this comes from a little space, like if we're born, and maybe I should have been a boy or something. I don't know. I'm not what they wanted. Oh my God. Now, let's see. Where should she go? I'm freezing too. Oh my God. So I'm still supposed to do R2D. Robin is supposed to go to R2D. What do we have on you on?
L2D.
Oh, you're supposed to stay there. This is what we call group healing. Not what they wanted. Feel that. It's not what they wanted. And how would you feel that you walked in and you are you and they're like, not what we wanted. But, oh my God. Hey, Autumn, hope you're listening. You need to do it too. Let's see, which one is Robin's or Autumn? Autumn needs to do L2D because it's a lie. So I would say L2D for Miss Autumn. Oh my God, anybody else here that can relate to this? Oh. Okay, now it's just my calves, my knees down are frozen. The rest of me is warm. I'm in a swamp area that tells me that's like gallbladder. This is just like pig pen. So we're in other people's energy fields. And it's their fears now. Oh my God, the shame. We're supposed to take and be the shame. Oh, it's like our mothers. We're like, oh shit, I didn't do it right. Like, I think I'm just supposed to be a boy if I think about it. To save the marriage, maybe. I don't know. Oh my God. Oh.
I didn't look like my sister.
Oh. Okay. Mine's done. But anyways, you were supposed to be a boy too. I mean, I was a tomboy.
Yeah, I think
my nickname was Bobby. I'm Bobby. I'm not a Bobby anymore. But I'm glad to integrate both sides. Oh, even my spine. Oh, good God. It's like I can feel all of you guys working together. It looks like I'm tired, but I'm not. Good Lord. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's get this energy shifted. Okay, we're good here.
Yes.
Somebody's a 2. I don't know which one. My parents wanted a boy. But see, she wanted to be a girl. Hold on, your original birth mom. Who came first? Wanted a boy. So this is a storyline of how they might have disappointed their partner. Not necessarily they didn't want us, but they should have done it because did they do it to save their relationships? I know mine might have. Oh my God. So it's so weird. If you ever want to feel something really weird and strange, touch your gallbladder points right here. Massage them like this. Do it for about 30 seconds or so, and all of a sudden you'll feel this sensation in your head. You're like, whoa, wow. I think, oh, let's see. I think my little, yeah, you look good. Get your giggles on, Robin. So over here, I think my outside thing needs new batteries. This is -1 out. It's not
Yeah,
-1.
it's not it's not 0
Yeah.
up, but
So we have to get the outside and the inside to get recharged. Discouraged. Got to stick with what I got.
I just heard that if I would have been a boy, she would have been able to keep me. Grandpa would have kept me.
Yep, that makes sense. That would make sense. That would definitely, because that was like a major requirement in those particular times. Oh, you're getting close. Autumn, I feel like you're really close. And Amy, so are you. So I feel like you two are the same. All I can say is I got a good bra. I can tuck down and hide. Oh, okay. So my nerves, my hairs, my everything is coming down. My feet are just cold now. The rest of me, good Robin got it. Jesus. Oh, huh.
I just you mean it's okay to be me? Yeah.
I'd say get your giggles on. There, now we'll all finish up. I had to be last, I think, because oh, oh my goodness. Try to smile, but man, energy there. I feels like I could like climb in bed and take a nice nap now. But hey, it's my morning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you guys are good. We haven't done one of these in a while.
No, we haven't. That was awesome.
Well, how do you feel? What do you know? I know I feel better.
I feel better. I'm still warming up. I still feel like I'm recalibrating and integrating that part.
Yep, the recalibration. You'll notice everything will change on the outside because you don't have to uh, attract. So I'm look. Did your attraction factor has that changed? Yes. For the better? Yes. All of us? Yes. Your habit fields is changing, and so will your actions too, which means the more you get your life force back from different things that you're collapsing, changing, and saying no to anymore, it's going to help you show up mentally and emotionally different as well as spiritually different to people. um, I feel like you'll be able to say, hey, you would never have an answer, and all of a sudden spirit will come in and go, here's something to say, and you're like,
Mhm.
yeah, I got this. I feel like you can be different.
Mhm.
Okay. Oops. So Autumn, I felt like you were, you know, I felt if you feel like you're done, do your hookup because I felt like you were done. Okay. Again, you need to witness. Yes, thank you, Amy. You need to witness. Why do we need to witness?
Because if we don't witness, the the little vacuum cleaners in our head are going to come and take it away, and then we aren't even going to realize that we did a healing or that anything changed.
Right. You got to show up for yourself by rewiring, firing and thinking, creating with a feeling and knowing how you know, putting new description words in, and the brain will say, oh, this is more efficient than the hell I used to have. This is more efficient. Oh, I'd rather go down this road. But if you don't change how you handled it the first time, then the brain is like, you didn't tell me to change it, so you didn't give me the instructions.
You're welcome, Robin.
Okay.
I'm delighted.
I
I didn't even realize that was sitting there.
No, we usually don't. See, and this is kind of like when you have your private sessions. We never know where they go. But you are changing on all your levels. See, and you just did a group healing without even know you were going to do a group healing.
Right.
And because I'm saying yes, you said yes. These two that were sitting there said yes. And anybody else that's quietly doing it said yes. We can help change the collective.
Yeah.
Okay. We can change the collective.
We can. And it's absolutely amazing how we can do that.
Exactly. Spirit is good. Spirit is wise. Thank you, Spirit. Exactly. Yeah, now I'm really warm or I just want to have some water. No, I don't have my heater on, so I don't know why. I'm still adjusting. Okay, hormonally. So I'll have to check my liver. Okay. I think that's good. Thank you.
That's good.
All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow in Tribal.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much, hon. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
So what have you learned today? From this experience, did you join us? Did you not join us? How many times can I do this? Can I get it? Yeah, you can. Keep watching it on YouTube. Go over to Medicine Woman Soultion. That's Soultion. And subscribe and thumbs up. Make a comment. Watch as many times as you want. But what did the spirit give you? Showing up as spirit, what were the gem pops? What stood out? And what does it mean to you? So when somebody is talking and you feel like, oh, that resonates, you don't have to take them word for word, especially where are you on your stage of progression of learning? And since this is a healer's journey instead of a hero's journey, you will look and feel and see things differently. And that was unexpected. We did something from the collective, at least from our collective. Not sure how big of a collective it is, but I think we were all supposed to be boys and we had to feel how our mothers or the dads or whoever in the environment felt like they were disappointed and to discourage and, because it was about discouragement. And these emotions can play a big part. Again, if you don't know what emotional chemical peptides are, it's important you begin to understand that they rule and drive your world. You can be in charge of that on a spiritual essence. You can use the energies in your body. There's no hocus pocus or any of this stuff. It is about moving energy. It's about showing up about how you emotionally understand something, the definitions, the meanings. Do you need to give it so much meaning that you stay in hell? Or do you give it, it's like, wait a minute, I can be in charge of what I give it. You need to decide. You need to go and say, hey, wait a minute. Do I or need to, or any of these things? And who can show up? Your higher self, you, not your over attachment to things, and not your pains and suffering, not by going, I need to be more like that person, this and this and that. You need to show up. And when you begin to show up differently, especially when your ego is not trying to tell you how you should be, but to understand that you're more than a program. Okay? To understand you are more than a program. Oh, and if there's anybody else here, just in case, if there's anybody new and you wanted a quick, you got a few minutes to at least let me know one way or the other. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap up my show. So you are welcome. Let me check here just in case. Good there. Excellent. We had a really good show today. So I know that, let's see. November is coming. Yes, November. Oh, there's a lot of things in November, too. You're well. Hey, KB, you stayed through all that? Oh, good. Hi, Cindy. How are you? I'm just about ready to wrap it up. If fantastic show. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are welcome. You need support, you do this, you find something that encourages you, and you may have to shut the TV off or change the way your lifestyle is, but get something that's going to help you find you and help you balance out all the mental and emotional stuff. So, Cindy, are you doing better? All good? That sounds good. So if you get tired of your emotional stuff, you can use a tool, tap it out, heal it out in many different ways. If you're tired of looking at this particular, you have a time change next weekend. Oh, maybe that's what I was thinking of. If your mental stuff is not good, you can still be in charge of changing the way you show up. You can be in charge, okay? But the way to do that is you have to understand that your program is not meant to be in charge. You have a higher self and you have a heart. So learning how to be in heart-brain coherence and learning to be that moment instead of having to be, oh my God, the victim or any of this stuff. You can say, okay, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to change this. The power is in your hands. That's what I'm saying. So next week we come to tribal an hour earlier. Yes, I'm not changing. You guys are this time. So that we do need to talk about that tomorrow for those that are in the States. So yes. Okay. I've had a great show. Cindy, if you want to rewatch, all you have to do is go to YouTube, Medicine Woman Soultion, Soultion, and rewatch it. And get into supporting yourself by giving yourself new knowledge, and so that you understand that the more you know, the more you do. So the more you do, the more you'll be. So doobie 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 doo. Doobie doobie doo. Okay, you can do that. All right, I love you very much. Hashtag resolve to evolve. This is more than just, it's not about hashtag heal, deal, right? So hashtag heal instead of deal. You have choices to be something other than your programs. Hashtag thank you, Spirit. Hashtag I can do this. Hashtag I can heal this. Hashtag in the discovery is the recovery. Hashtag. But if you don't just say it. Literally move the energy in your brain. Literally move the energy that says you're supposed to be this, that, and the other. Because when you move that energy, you will be able to see from a different perspective. And you're going to change that kaleidoscope of life, those perspectives. You can do this. All right. You're already blessed. You're already whole. So stay blessed and happy healing.